All right, we are live, and we are good to go on Twitch. Good to go on that, and share to the group. Hello, everybody. We can see we have a wild Peraza back in the saddle.
It's true.
Well, we finally
It's going to
decided
be
to
a
let him
bumpy
out of
ride,
the cage.
folks.
So guys, it's been a couple minutes, so and share to the group. Oh, come on, really? Don't give me that. No, don't want to share the WhatsApp. What? Can I not
Bear
share?
with us, folks. Justin's in a new apartment and he's working through the kinks.
Oh,
We're also using a new program, so professionalism every week. We
every
wouldn't be
day,
super
every minute.
geeks without it. Yeah.
We wouldn't be super geeks without nerding out over that.
Yeah. More geeks than super at the moment, but we'll get there.
Now,
Just think, if we hadn't had someone rate us in TeamSpeak with a bunch of fucking Mario music, we would have never switched to Zoom before the pandemic.
That's true.
Oh man, could you imagine we were doing Zoom before everybody else was?
We're officially hipsters.
Oh, we're older, boomers.
We were zooming before it was cool.
Tony Armstrong says, "Welcome back, Carlos." I'm digging this new chat setup.
It's almost like people missed Carlos.
I know. It's
I know,
amazing.
It's shocking.
It's actually shocking. He is missed. You want to do a rundown of things, Carlos, or
rundown on my things?
Sub-host? Oh, is it your technically the sub-host now since Ross ain't going to be here?
I know I'm bummed I'm missing the dulcet tones of Ross's voice, although I guess that's the reason he's not here.
Yeah, because it went from dulcet tones to I can't stay over.
I would still watch.
And I tried to talk.
He's got the eyebrows of doom.
Well, he does these redeem things, and the last time his voice was going out, he forgot to turn them off on his channel, and people were enjoying the hoarseness of his voice, and yeah, I don't think he's fully recovered from that. All right, but yeah, everything. Hello, go and.
So yeah, Carlos, tell us what's been going on with you, what you've been doing.
Well, I started a new job back in November, which has been keeping me on my toes ever since. I'm doing social media and communications and marketing stuff for an art school here in Seattle.
You know, white bus.
I figured as sassy as you are, you with all this talk of being social media and marketing, you were the new voice of Wendy's.
Well, you know, it's funny enough that when he mentioned working at a school, I thought he was working in the kitchen.
No, actually, Justin, you thought I was the janitor.
Oh, I first was going to be the kitchen, then I said janitor. You know,
as I pointed out to you, if by that you mean I clean up other people's messes, that's kind of what I do.
And see, Justin, if he worked in the kitchen, there'd be no food to serve because he would be eating it all.
Well, you already killed all the buffets in Seattle. So.
It's so weird, isn't it, Carlos? You're doing the thing that George needed the fucking most, isn't it? Cleaning up messes on social media.
Oh my God,
George.
That was usually wound up falling to one of us to have to deal with.
That's all right.
I still love every minute of it. I know. Still do the good old George series.
Okay, I don't remember what the hell poster it was, but it's like one of the new Disney shows or whatever or something. One of the new streaming show things, and I swear to God, one of the actors. It took me like 3 minutes of staring at this poster to go, that's not George. because I swear to God, it looked like George, and I'm like, God, did he just fake his death or something? I think it might have been like one of the new Harry Potter things. Because there's like it's like a gruff looking dude, and it seems kind of steampunky, and
it's the new Fantastic Beasts movie. I think it's probably that one.
Oh yeah, the new Fantastic Beasts is coming out.
Because it's like,
are we excited about that?
I'm half and half. So. I really didn't care about the first half. I don't know.
I think I've gone to all of them. I feel like it's a bit of a hot mess actually as a series of films. Like it's like lots of sound and fury, and I'm still trying to figure out if it signifies anything.
Carlos.
Not to mention the fact that like the main character doesn't feel like the main character at all. He feels like a supporting character. We need to wonder, who is the main character? That's a good question.
It's almost like the Sorcerer's Apprentice remake, or the Magician's Apprentice remake that Disney did not too long ago.
I think I saw that.
Oh yeah.
Like where the apprentice is supposed to be this, the main character, but he doesn't feel like the main character the entire time.
I know. I mean, like in screenwriting, the whole point of the main character is the person who takes the journey, and changes from beginning to end. And you care about how the conflict that he comes into, and it's like I don't get any of that from. I don't even remember the guy's name. What's the guy's name in Fantastic Beasts?
Grindelwald?
I don't know.
No. See, Grindelwald. That's the one you think of off the top. No, the guy that what's his name plays.
Eddie Redmayne. I know the actor.
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne. Yeah, Eddie Redmayne plays him. And it's like he seems to like just sit back and watch everything happen. That's not what a main character does.
Yeah, it's never Fantastic Beasts has never been a thing.
It makes me want to eat a tuna sandwich.
It would probably be a more fascinating movie to follow the story of the rise of Bertie Bott.
Oh my God!
And the rise of Bertie Bott and his every flavor jelly beans. That would be a more interesting story.
I don't know who that is.
Good name.
Bernie,
I like seeing Dumbledore when he was young. That part's pretty cool, but it's like he's not the main character.
Mm-hmm.
They should have just made him the main character, and then I'd be cool with it.
You know what would be fascinating is if they actually did make a Bertie Bott's movie, and he's addressed every bit as much as Gene Wilder or in the original Willy Wonka. And it's just funny. All magic.
That would be funny.
But yeah, so let's see.
Justin, our stalwart producer, ever hard at work right now.
I'm sorry, still trying to get all the make sure everything's going good, make sure everything's
we're vamping as much as we can, Justin. We're stalling.
Yeah, all right, so let's see here, Greg, how's you been?
Greg, how have you been?
Great.
How's your past 2 weeks been?
Yeah.
Last 2 weeks been good. I didn't know it was spring break for school because I wasn't paying attention until I emailed my professor. I was like, hey, can I get an extension on my paper? She emailed me back, it's spring break. Turn it in after. I'm like, oh.
Oh, see, we wouldn't get spring break until after that. Spring break is like the end of our
and that's the thing. We were supposed to have it at the end of March, but they started our school year 2.5 weeks early, so they moved spring break up, and I didn't pay attention to that. And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, our schools is in 2 weeks, and I'm heading to Palm Springs.
And that makes sense.
You and your trip, man.
I don't get around as much as I used to because I actually have to, go be on campus most of the time.
I want to travel right now. God, gas prices. Ooh.
Grumble, 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 grumble.
You know the amount I had to pay for movies because of gas prices going up. It's like, shit.
Thanks, Obama.
Of course.
Leah, go smack Greg in the back of the head, please, if you're
Well,
listening.
since we're going around the horn here, son, how are you doing?
Thanks, Jim.
I feel better than I have in months.
And that's right. She was telling us that before we went live. Why is that, son?
Well, I don't recommend this to anybody, and I can't recommend this to anybody.
SuperGeeks is not responsible for any medical consequences as a result of the advice given from our host. Thank you.
You said that
Well,
without messing with us, and how many times have you said that?
Again, this is not medical advice in the first fucking place. So yeah, I've been on a cocktail of drugs for like a while, like a long while, and after a certain injection at the beginning of last year, like my health started to rapidly decline even while on all these medications. So within the last couple of weeks, I said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's start myself back at zero. I've not taken anything in like 2 weeks. About the only thing I've been taking has been my blood pressure medication. And I've not felt this good in months. At least 6 months. So, I don't know. I hope it stays this way.
Me too. I must feel
same
great.
here.
I'm glad you did.
Better.
I guess it's my turn.
Why, yes, Justin, it is.
The last 2 weeks, I am out of my hellhole. So there should be no more screaming fire alarm interruptions through our shows from here on out.
I thought it made them kind of exciting.
Yeah, I have better internet, soundproof walls, and I've actually been here. I've actually started feeling better. So ain't no telling what was in that apartment building that has been having me feeling not great.
I mean,
who knows?
You say soundproof walls, right? And staring at the wall from the camera that I'm looking at, I'm like, it better be soundproof. That's a padded wall.
No,
We've always suspected that about you, Justin.
Well, it's not padded. It's actually concrete, and then there's I think they said it's double layer because there's firewalls between apartments that keep up. Yeah, so it's supposed to have like some rating that's supposed to make it last longer. But yeah, they're insulated and added bonus soundproof. Concrete ceiling, floors, love it. Carpet, fucking carpet. I don't not those crappy little tile floors that we
Those
had.
are two words I always like to put together.
I love it.
Fucking carpet. You can see I prefer hardwood floors.
Oh, you prefer the carpet.
Of course, you prefer hardwood, Carlos. You're gay.
Well, I do have some hardwood in the kitchen.
And available, by the way, if anyone's watching. Just saying.
Justin is very much available.
Thank you all. But yes.
Justin has his cat. Where's your cat? Where's the cat from hell?
The cat is currently sleeping on a chair because this week he has first couple nights here. He was. See how can I say it? He had Zooms all night trying to figure out where everything was, looking out the window, not knowing what
anxiety, yeah.
And then he found his spot where his cat box is, where his food is, and everything. He has his own little cat condo because there's like a big walk-in closet thing that I don't really have to use. So I decided to make that his space, and he loves it. He can climb in there and do his own thing, and cat box is out of the way, and food and water's out of the way. Perfect. So. But yeah, other than that, let's see. That are perfectly placed. I can actually control my heating and air now, so no more whenever it's winter and it's outside to be 71 degrees, well, I'd be sweating to death because they don't turn the air on in the building. Hit it, go on my phone, hit a control, turn the air on. Everything's smart. Control. So it's all controlled by app. I want to do laundry and go downstairs, put money in the machine through my phone, start the laundry. I mean, this place is fantastic. So nice. Yeah, I think it will be good. It's going to be a little hectic for a while. I don't have my proper setup at all right now. So I only have one monitor, and it's weird. So, yeah.
I never thought I'd be saying this, but Justin is the prime example. He's the person living in the pod.
You're the pod.
It's made out of concrete. Everything is digital.
Well, okay, there's one wall concrete, everything interior stuff, walls. But yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Well,
but it's spacious. It's so much more room than the other place, and I pay less rent. I don't have figured out how that works, but I pay less rent.
Just thank your lucky stars.
Yes.
It happens. There are just some people who don't charge as much.
Well, I mean, it's the HUD housing, so I mean, still, it's better than without that. So, yeah, I think I'll be happy here for a good while.
That's good.
Well, excellent. So, what do we have to talk about today?
So tonight,
we've not talked about 2 episodes. We skipped last week, so we've got 4 episodes to talk about this week.
All right.
Last Discovery to Picard.
I was in the middle of packing, and I think Ross wasn't feeling good, or computer was down. Greg had to do something at what he's done for a show, and I was just like, let's just call it for this week.
I show up, and I'm like, why isn't the link working? It's like, oh, we're not having a show. It's like,
don't you check production chat?
Yes, Jason is going to join us in 5 minutes.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome. Well, we'll continue the chatting here.
But, so we have to cover Rosetta and 10C, and then the first 2 episodes of Picard.
Cool. So we'll just kind of keep going, chatting here just a bit till Jason, the bearded one, joins us, and
okay, then we'll start with a Trek topic that Jason probably won't need to be here with. I was disappointed in the Strange New Worlds trailer.
I was too. I expected
more.
Were
you? Really?
I'm still looking forward to it, but as the first teaser, I was disappointed. I was expecting a lot more.
Especially as close as it is.
Well, I mean,
aren't supposed by their very
nature that they put out that they were going to release.
I can explain why Greg is kind of let down.
Okay.
It's how far off until this show is supposed to be premiering?
Hey,
2 months.
Like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
We've had teasers and shit for Picard for like the past 6 months.
We had better teasers. Yeah, we had better teasers.
The fact that we're getting the first initial teaser now is kind of like really late in the game for the marketing. Or for the marketing that we're used to. And it feels off.
If the schedule's going to go the way it is, like the way they laid out Picard, like Disco ending, Picard, and then Stranger Worlds, I think we're going to have a Trek show every week until like Thanksgiving. Because if Lower Decks airs in the summer like it should, Prodigy is supposed to come after that this year. So we're going to have a Trek show every week.
This is basically like my childhood dreams
come true. I'm no.
To be
honest. I mean, this was also Kurtzman's plan originally.
Didn't he get fired?
He got fired last week. You didn't hear?
Well, thanks, Kathleen Kennedy.
They got fired. Everybody got fired.
Thanks, Nerdrotic. I appreciate that. Heads up.
Oh yeah, he's so on the money. That guy.
No wonder.
Tragically wrong all the time.
And like Justin said, Kathleen Kennedy was fired last week too.
I know. And they still have her on doing press releases for Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan was canceled. Obi-Wan was canceled.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm being stared at.
Leah, smack him.
Yeah,
smack him. Sometimes I get Leah to smack right in the back of the head. It's glorious.
If she's watching, she will do it, but she's not watching on it. She's playing a game. She's playing video games.
Now she's going to inquire why you said that.
But yeah, I mean, so for the Strange New Worlds trailer, I can appreciate where Pike is, but then that's it. And then like the next time we see Pike, it's on the Enterprise. Like, okay, I get it's a teaser, but we only see Pike and Spock, and that's it. And
You see Pike with a white beard, which is kind of
he
awesome.
went native. He went native.
Yeah, he went native probably because he's trying to avoid whatever his fate was.
Remember, time out. They can't talk about it. He's under orders.
That doesn't mean he can't like freak out about it.
He didn't even go to the future. He just saw Disco disappear. What's the freak?
Did anybody?
His fate, his upcoming fate.
Yep, that's the fate of Pike.
Yes.
Was that the spoiler alert?
No, the beep beep.
No, that's the chair.
Thank you,
there you go.
See,
He's saying thank you.
I can get her to smack Trey on. Say not.
A red vine and a head boop.
I love it.
It was a deception.
Now we need to get her.
It is a red vine, right? It's not one of those.
It is red vine. Yes, red vine.
Good.
Another thing we agree about today.
Okay,
I would have booted you if it wasn't.
So for our viewers out there, Carlos and I have apparently agreed on multiple things with Star Trek this week. So we're variants. Just go with it.
Well, I mean, I'm agreeing with you, and that's what's really fucking scary. I'm usually the optimist of the group, and it's just like.
So here's a question for that teaser trailer. Did anybody else feel at one point when that person was holding up the cutout of the Enterprise?
Yes.
Did anybody else feel like that was like Catholic Mass holding the Eucharist? Because that's what it felt like.
I wouldn't know. I've never been.
That just felt so off and out of place.
I mean, it gave me the vibes of the JJ Trek. You know, when the Enterprise comes out of the water and like the Naburians like see it and they suddenly throw their religious scrolls and draw the Enterprise.
They saw us. Big deal. So what?
Fired.
I mean, I will agree with you around the timing, and I would only speculate that has something to do with the rush in post-production. Basically, there wasn't a lot of. I don't think there was a lot of finished footage for them to choose from.
Well, I mean, they showed more. Recently. They showed more in that one that was, I think, would have been better one than what that got leaked from the upfronts that Paramount did. Or got off the internet. They showed more in that than they did in this, and that would have been a better trailer to go with. I think.
I'll be honest though. I really enjoyed the updated Type F.
Shuttle.
The shuttle the shuttle when he's riding his horse. It looks really good. I like it.
I did too.
That's the design they should have went with.
And it looks a hell of a lot better than those weird ass Discovery shuttles.
Yes,
I like the Discovery shuttles.
Also, okay, this also feels out of place. Is it just me or Spock's appearance out of place? His hair is really weird. His uniform seems kind of off versus the others. It's like, okay.
Let's talk about these uniforms. Let's talk about these uniforms.
Okay.
Are we pro, anti, or meh?
Anti.
I like the ones before.
Son, what about you?
I honestly wasn't paying too much attention to the uniforms in the teaser.
Beard is there.
There's Ensign Beardface. Beard Face, I mean. It's been too long, Beard Face.
It has been.
Hi, Jason.
I didn't realize until just this moment how much I missed saying Beard Face.
And he's almost blending in with the hair. Look, good job on the weight loss, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hubba hubba, Beard Face. I mean Beard Face.
It's been a long road.
Oh,
I'm getting
don't
there
even
here.
start.
Yeah.
Don't even start.
no. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
You
You're
know what
forcing-
road this leads us down, and it always ends up with.
It's been a long road.
Yeah. I'm amazed you had that ready to go, Justin.
He's had it ready to go for a couple of weeks now. I mean, he's popped that off a couple of times.
We should talk at some point about the resurgence of Star Trek Enterprise. I think.
But you mean the fans finally accepting it?
Yeah, like and actually liking it. Like, was that you freaking out, Justin? I think it's aging better than people expected it would.
Well, yeah, it's because the themes in it were actually like timeless.
Hmm.
I mean, sure, everyone talks about that. Oh, it's obvious analog for 9/11. It's like, no, it's just terrorism in general, because all that crap holds up right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idiot.
So Faseh, you joined us in the middle of us talking about the Strange New Worlds trailer because we wanted to wait till you got here before we started talking about Discovery and Picard.
So on that note,
Yeah, on that note, what were you going to say, Greg?
oh no, I was gonna say, Brenda, I always liked Enterprise. Enterprise was good up
Yeah, you have
until
good taste,
these were the voyages.
Don't get him started.
So what do you think of the Strange New Worlds teaser, Jason?
I thought it was really good. I'm interested to see like what lures Pike back into Starfleet. I'm actually interested to see what pulled him away, because at the end of he was on the bridge of the Enterprise ready to go. So obviously something got to him, and we know something will get to him at the at the end of his time there. So it'll just be interesting to see. I'm excited. I think it's what was that?
Well, these layabouts were not as
Air
impressed by the Strange New Worlds teaser, as I think you and I.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, it was a good teaser. Don't get me wrong, but I just think it could have done a little bit more, considering how close it is to release and how soon other teasers from other shows were out months before the show premiered. And here we are. I think it's May. Yeah, and we're getting this little tidbit.
Yeah, but think about it. They have a built-in audience that will have been primed by Prodigy, by Discovery, and now by Picard. Like, this is built in.
Yeah.
Why waste the resources if you know you're going to get? You've got people literally frothing at the mouth for this show.
Right. And why risk like the competition to what you currently have going on, right?
Right.
Like,
let them
I would at least
play
wait till
catch up.
Yeah. I would at least. I'm actually surprised we got anything before Discovery ended, because of just how close the shows are together in terms of Pike being on Discovery. I figured they would have waited until Discovery ended, and then then at that
You mean Discovery
sure
the
next
series
week's-
ended?
No.
Just
The
season.
The season ended, and then at that, and then maybe done something during the ready room there next week to highlight it.
Well, Ready Room's not even showing Discovery previews anymore. They're just going right with hard.
Well, there's only
Well,
one episode left. So
Yeah, there's a reason for that. Anything shown about next week is literally like a massive freaking spoiler for the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, total
I
George
mean-
theory. That never get to it.
I mean, I'll be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed the teaser. It felt really late in the game to be putting it out. But that's just me.
Well, as you weren't here when I made this comment, Jason, but my theory is that they just didn't have finished footage ready to put together yet, because it went right from being shooting being completed to go right into post-production And my guess is, based on what we did see in the teaser, this is a very effects-heavy show. And
Yeah, they're all using that AR wall now. So
Yeah.
There's also a level of spoilerage that it seems like they're really trying to prevent on, especially this show. I mean, it just seems like CBS seems to be really guarded about what leaks out about the show in advance, and so I think they're being really protective about what you see, how much you see. I think because they're trying to keep that anticipation up. I think we'll probably get a proper trailer here soon. Like a fuller trailer.
We will. My guess is it'll be after Discovery, like maybe even immediately after Discovery.
That
maybe
would
we'll get a
because-
preview.
or the
Maybe
ready
last
room.
year.
Like they'll do it.
Maybe we'll actually get a
I
bit
think
of
the
a more.
Ready Room is not watched widely enough for that to really be a great launching pad.
And that would
For something like
that
a
would be
trailer.
the perfect time to release the trailer to get viewership up. Like, oh, did you guys see the trailer on what Ready Room? And then people are like, oh, we need to watch that from now on.
Yeah, I don't think that's how advertising works, dude.
Respect Will Wheaton, damn it.
I do respect Will Wheaton. I think the Ready Room has really, it's great to watch. I'm a bit behind on it, but it's a good watch. But I think, its viewership is not the same size as the viewership of the shows themselves.
It's definitely better than the previous incarnations of
Oh yes,
whatever they tried to do.
Yeah,
well,
those
like
were
the-
okay, but Will Wheaton's a great host, so
he's got that energy, that charisma, and he just knows how to.
He's a vampire.
Work
He doesn't
camera.
age. He's still 18.
Well, that's why-
definitely.
That's why
he
he's a watcher.
definitely has aged. He's definitely.
That's why he's a watcher.
You think he's the watcher?
Well, I guarantee you, he's a watcher.
Oh no, we'll talk about that when we get to that. But okay, so one of the other things that we were talking about with Strange New Worlds, Jason, was the costumes, which have changed since we last saw Enterprise costumes at the end of Discovery Season 2. What do you think of the costumes?
I think they look better than they did in the Discovery. I think the Discovery ones look too much like the Discovery. They're trying to bridge the Discovery gap. And they didn't really look like what we've been used to. I think they look like a better version of the Beyond uniforms, to be completely honest.
I
feel
don't
more
think
of a
they're as
merger.
good as the Beyond. I'm sorry, go ahead, Justin.
I think they're more of a merger of the Discovery, the ones that we saw on Discovery, and maybe something they were trying to merge it from the Cage, just to kind of blend the two together. Because it's not quite Beyond, because Beyond's really good. But, I mean, they're kind of something new. They look okay, but, I mean, I guess.
Well, Beyond had those they really like the low collars. Like to get to the TOS era, you need to get rid of the collars. You need to get to more of like a casual shirt.
Mm.
So I think this is more
But see,
like
I think they're too casual, and the TOS shirts had collars.
Yeah.
Like they were, they went up the neck. If you look at these new costumes, they don't. They feel way too casual to me. Way too casual.
You don't like the V-neck?
Barely. I like the V-neck, except that you barely see the black undershirt, so it just ends up looking, like something. It's just too casual. I do like some of the detailing on it. I like the whole, sort of embossed fabric on the shoulders that have the division.
I think they could have done without the black on the side.
I don't mind that. The side panels are fine. They're
And
swimming.
by the way, Action Art, you do not own the rights to those.
I crack up whenever I see
Idiot.
Action Art fans try to make the case that
Jonathan
somehow-
Lane was trying to say that. I'm like,
I know,
Jonathan, you're a
it's-
fucking moron.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, particularly when you look at the fact that Axnar's costumes are basically the same as we saw in what was
Comics.
it, the IDW? Yeah, the IDW comics,
Yeah,
years
the crossover.
before Prelude. So it's like if you're going to play that game, that knife cuts both ways. So
Well, you know who decided and mocked up the Axonar uniforms, right? Christian Gossett.
Sean, wasn't it?
Sean, but at Christian Gossett's descriptions.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So, I mean, if you're gonna talk about like how great the XR uniforms are, you're a great director.
Well, just look at the footage from 2019 when they shot it, and it looks cheap. The fabric they wore was too tight in all the wrong places and just really cheap looking.
Movies. And moves.
So anyway, saying what I said about the Strange New Worlds uniforms looking too casual, they still look good. I mean, I don't think they look terrible. I just wish they. I
love the communicators.
Fix the collar. The communicator is great. And did I tell you, thanks to Sean O'Halloran, I bought one of those Bluetooth communicators, the ones that are like super expensive and actually are like they work with
they're really
phone.
cool, aren't
Sean
they?
is such an asshole.
I love that thing. I actually use it.
I've got one that's a magnet, goes on a shirt, and it works just fine. It was like $50.
Yeah, this was a bit.
It's a TNG era one though.
Yeah.
And Sean is such an asshole. He talks us into doing all types of things.
I know.
I mean,
he's nothing but trouble. That guy.
I mean, it's almost like he has like all of this money from like being in Las Vegas or something.
Yeah, well, Sean has a garage full of stuff. Like, he sold a bunch of it, almost all of it. Not all that he owns, but all that he brought to STLV last year. And like just random stuff that he pulled out of his garage, and it sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you live in where it snows, you don't have room in your garage for a big warehouse of Star Trek stuff. So all I've got is what's there.
That's not so bad. Don't you also have
I feel you, Jason.
like 3D printed Discovery phasers? Hint, hint.
I've got my
somewhere.
Enterprise D, my All Good Things Enterprise. I've got the Orville back here.
I still haven't broken out my printer yet from moving. I need to. My kid wants me to now. So because now he's into cosplaying. We went to FanX last year, and so now we're ready for.
Tell Silas I'm right with him.
Or Ross has a 3D printer now, Carlos.
Is it as good as Fasse's?
Ross has two.
Wow.
Ross is a resin.
You might want to hit him up.
He's a high def resin. So with Ross's, like, if you break it down small enough, because the resin's smaller, but you can get really intricate, like really high definition prints.
That's true, because he's got those figurines that are super detailed. Yeah, you're right.
All right, Carlos,
could you send your file to him so that he can print me the phaser?
Sure.
Well, Ross never had time to fix his computer hardly right now. So,
Ross needs to get his computer to work.
Yeah, poor Ross.
Okay, so let's get into Discovery.
Let's see. We'll go with the filler episode of Rosetta. We'll start on that one. Carlos, what was your thought?
Well, it felt like a filler episode, honestly. There were things about it that I liked, and I don't normally like being a filler episode doesn't like automatically mean I don't like it. But this one just felt like it's a shorter season this season than last season.
It is.
By one or two episodes?
Yeah.
It's like, why are we wasting time? I saw what they were trying to do. Like, I thought it was great that they were trying to create these like character moments for, the different bridge crew, because people keep whining about the bridge crew not having enough character development, ignoring the fact that the bridge crew from TOS had almost zero character development over the course of their series. And even TNG had very little character development over the 7 seasons for all the small
DS9
minority of it. The DS9 did it great. DS9 was the best when it came to character development over 7 seasons.
Amazing character development.
You spoil them just a little bit, and then they expect to move.
Well, yeah. No, Greg, TNG had character development, but it was constrained by at the time the fact that everything had to be episodic, and you couldn't have more than 2-parters, and they had to be syndication friendly for later airing. potentially out of order, and there were all these things, mitigating against like if you compare the character development of the supporting characters in TNG versus DS9, they're not comparable. Like TNG just didn't go as far as DS9 did, because DS9 committed to a serialized format, and so that's why we see the difference to that. Now I say that knowing you can turn that around on me and saying, well, Discovery is a serialized format, so why aren't you as critical about it? And my answer to that actually would be the same as I know Jason's would be, which is we're only getting 12, 13 episodes a season, as opposed to the 22 that DS9 had.
I'd also point out that Discovery has a much larger cast, a much larger, like, it's more on par with like Deep Space Nine's recurring cast than TNG's recurring cast. TNG didn't have a very large recurring cast. And so like your bridge crew, your Detmers, your Obos, your Bryces, those are people who in TNG would have only gotten 1 or 2 episodes, right? And these are like people that are being brought back season after season after season.
Yeah. I mean, I would challenge anyone to say that we have not seen character development for Owo, for Detmer. We haven't for like people like Reese and Nielsen, but they're a little bit lower on the food chain on there. But even there, we are seeing some movement for them. So I don't agree with sort of that big criticism that a lot of people have about character development of the supporting characters in the show. So that said, going back to the actual episode, so I respect the fact that they tried to do some of that. It ended up feeling, though, like a group therapy session more than the kind of exploration thing that I think they were trying to do at the same time. And they're not like mutually opposed, but I just felt like the writing didn't do each of those things enough justice. So there was that. I did like the whole idea of, these pheromones, these hydrocarbon-based pheromones are a communication method. I thought that was kind of a cool science fiction-y concept.
They're space bees.
Yeah. But I just felt like they took a long time to get there. And, whereas, I mean, my reaction in seeing Species 10C, the following episode, was like, finally! Like, did it really take this many episodes to get to this point? I mean, short answer, Species 10C, amazing episode. But good Lord, why did we need so much filler to get there?
Is it sad? Is it sad?
And then they had the blue balls right at the end of it.
So for Rosetta myself, I'll kind of keep it quick, just like my ups and downs for it, kind of like what I like. Yes, it was filler, but there was one aspect of the show when they go to where Burnham and Saru are both going down to the surface, both captains. I saw the crap on Facebook, like, nobody does this. You can't send both captains. I will give the pass on the show that they accepted that Burnham, a xenoanthropologist, and Saru, a linguist, knowing over 100 languages, I'm like, they are the two most qualified people to go down. Mm-hmm. I actually supported that. I was like, it's bad, but you have to send them because they're the most qualified people. And so I like that Rillick was the audience, like, whoa, what are you doing? So no, she's not Kaiwin 2.0, Justin. You can no longer ride that train.
Yeah, that train left the station ages ago.
Yeah,
Justin.
it did.
It'll never leave the train. Never.
I didn't like Tarka and Book fooling Zora. Like, she is a sentient computer AI, and you just all of a sudden like, oh yeah, Tarka's like, I got this. We're gonna beam on and not be detected. I'm like, excuse me? Zora does not know. Zora cannot feel that something is out of place, and they just walk around all willy-nilly through the Jeffries tubes. It's like, okay, come on. It's like that was like a little too much. Like, that was a little too much sci-fi at that point. You have this
I didn't like it, but I accepted it. It's like, okay. I mean, Tark is a genius.
It didn't last long though. Here, so
No, and I like the way that they solved that in 10C.
Yeah.
But again,
Um,
it took much longer than they needed to.
I agreed with a couple of the criticisms that you gamble so much on this little mission to go down there. Too much was gambled to go down there and have it come back. Let's say they found nothing. It's like that. Like I said, we're kind of in agreement. That it was kind of very, very fillery. Like you had like a 10-minute plot and a 50-minute episode. They really did stretch it along.
and then talk about your feeling.
Exactly.
Well-
But I will say this: I enjoyed the hell out of all of them tripping balls on the after they all got the dust. You know, to say, "Oh, this is to communicate. We got this." All of them tripping was hilarious. They were just all losing their minds, enjoying themselves, and in dealing with the emotion. I was like, "That was great." That
Well,
was
now you
excellent.
know what happens when you inhale spice.
Exactly. See, so I did have a problem of all people with Ndoye not arresting Book or calling security. When Book comes up right there, like, granted she holds him a knife point. I was like, "You didn't call security? He caused this to her. He caused this whole thing to happen now where Earth is threatened. She does not know that it was Tarkus. She just thinks you were there, you helped do it. So the fact that she didn't call security right away or just flat out stab him, I'm like, okay, it shows us that Ndoye has changed. She's coming around to the diplomatic approach. But at the same time, I was expecting that knife to slip and stab Book.
I think if she, I mean, she's not a murderer. She was going to give him a chance to say something. But, and Ndoye is a fascinating character to me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we can come back around to this if other people want to go ahead and jump in with their overall reaction.
He's going to die.
Justin. Okay,
there's Justin. Justin thinks everybody's going to die.
He's mad because he doesn't have Kaiwin 2.0. Now he's got to go back to the other train he's been riding. Everybody's going to die.
Well, Book's going to die. That one, yeah, she's going to die.
So as far as this episode goes, it was hard for me to sit through all of it just because it felt very elongated. But I appreciated the message, like, hey, we now know how to communicate with them. My favorite part of the episode was Reno finding Tarka and then saying, please tell me I'm spoiling a surprise party. That was my favorite part of the episode. So that was my take. I'll let Jason's son, somebody else.
I'll go. Yeah. So as far as Rosetta goes, yeah, I agree with you all. It was
very.
Yeah. I know it's weird. World's ending. God help us all. But yeah, I won't rehash what's already been said. So I'll since the episode's great. I loved when Reno found Ball in there. So they like surprise party. And then whenever Book found her on the ship.
Oh God, yes.
Look priceless. But yeah, it's a good episode all around. To see anyway. Can't wait to see what happens next week. So I really hope Book kills Tarka because there's no redeeming him now. So either Book will kill Tarka or Tarka will beam Book off the ship and sacrifice him. We'll see. I don't think that will happen either, but it's been a wild ride. Almost coming to a close. It's been a weird season. It really has been. So what will happen now? Well, can you please undo what?
I don't know who that is.
Who's talking smack?
Well, while you figure that out.
While Justin's figuring that out.
So Jason, you go. Tell us all why we're wrong.
Yeah, here we go. Here comes Jason.
So, I mean, all of the Discovery seasons, they usually tend to slow down before the last two episodes a bit, right? To kind of get to a place where, like, you just let you catch your breath from the season. I know this season's been a little bit slower, but, like, they've taken their time to tell the story, right? Like, this is the advantage of this kind of television, is that you don't have to rush. I remember a few years ago they had a showing of Best of Both Worlds in the theater, And I went, but I was expecting it to be awesome. But it was really underwhelming because like it just didn't have like that cinematic story feel. Like it had that television cut feel. Discovery doesn't have that. Discovery takes their time and tells the story like you would in a feature. Now, granted, it's a lot longer than a feature, and if this was done in a feature, they would have up tempo some of the story. But I mean, this is like in a lot of ways. I said about this in our chat today. The Discovery's a lot like reading a novel, like where like you have slower chapters where you can just be a lot more plotting and a lot more like methodical in how you're telling the story, so you can have the scenes and the moments like you did in Rosetta. I get that that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the character moments. I also enjoyed like again slowing down pace just a little bit after the last episode. The Great Barrier episode. I enjoyed slowing this one down a little bit, just again to learn about how we're going to communicate, seeing more conflict between Rillick and Burnham, but Rillick kind of just understanding that Burnham's a captain and she kind of has to go with the logic and then move on. I get it. Like it is slower. It does feel a little bit more like filler, but I also get that without that episode, we wouldn't have gotten where we are now. And I don't get where that story fits in either Great Barrier or this story that we had this week.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you in theory, because I don't, I'm okay with taking an episode where in its own direction, if it serves the larger plot of the whole season. My problem was that was not with that theory. It was with the execution, where I felt like there was just a lot of walking around pointing at alien things that it soaked up time without really telling us anything. So that was kind of my issue. I mean, once they actually got to the point, with the hydrocarbons, with people sharing the different aspects of their own lives that brought them to where they are, and how the hydrocarbons sort of made them share those things. All of that was great. Just took a really long time to get there.
I think with this one, I get where Jason's coming from, like the chapter thing. Disco has had, they've had a pacing problem this season. The pacing from the Great Barrier to this episode to now, the 10C, the pacing has been really erratic the last couple episodes. So that's what kind of probably threw me. I was just like the whole pacing issue.
Greg, just a quick clarification question. Do you mean the pacing inside of each episode or the pacing of the season?
I would say the pacing the last couple episodes as far as like the second part of the season, because they started great and fast, and then of course the pacing then slowed down. And then now it's like the Great Barrier picked it up, slowed down again, 10C kind of picked it up. So it's like where we're going with that.
I would say I think it's a legitimate criticism of Discovery in all 4 seasons, in that it has some pacing problems, in that they do speed stuff up and then speed it up and then slow it down. Again, like it depends on the story. Like I think in the very first season, you had moments where there was lots of, a furious rush in the overall plot of the season, and then you had like a few kind of like meandering moments, and then I think the biggest one is like when they get back to the Alpha Quad, when they get back to the main universe after the mirror universe jaunt, they get back to the main universe. There's a whole episode where like they're setting up the final 2 episodes where they're going to go bomb Kronos. Like, and that episode just kind of, and in the same way, it feels like filler. But again, it kind of goes to the overall like importance of the overall story. Like how do we get here, and how do we ramp up to these last 2 episodes? And because the last 2 episodes are usually so full and furious.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this season, like I didn't feel like that episode after the Mirror Universe episodes in season 1 felt like what, yes, it was a slowing of the pace, but at the same time, they showed us a lot of new stuff. Like we went in there with a lot of questions about, oh, it's been 6 months since they were gone. Oh, the war, didn't magically end. It's still really bad. There was all this stuff you were curious about and wanted to know about. And there was plenty of conflict in terms of coming up with this plan for what they were going to do now. And I just felt like they didn't serve us up much of those kinds of things, of information in Rosetta. I feel like the only thing we got were the damn hydrocarbons. And there wasn't enough there to fill up an entire episode.
You also got both.
Anyway, son.
Yeah.
Well, so it's weird. I have mixed feelings about Rosetta. We just from a watching perspective, we just got through with the end of the Great Barrier, where Burnham's like, "Yeah, no, I've already got an away team set up for this mission," and the way she like portrays that she's got all this set up, it's like, and I'm not going on it. And then the next episode starts, and hey, not only am I going on it, I'm taking Saru with me. What the fuck? Okay. And then the episode kind of proceeds to turn into The Last Jedi.
God damn it.
Okay. Like, there's a whole bunch of this episode that is completely unnecessary.
You're still talking about Rosetta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, okay, look, I get okay, we want to go down to the dead planet, because obviously the dead planet probably would have some kind of thing on it. Okay. You've got bones. You've got structures. But all you brought back was the information and to send to Dots to go get hydrocarbons. Why did nobody bring bones? Why did nobody bring pieces of the superstructure? Like, tangible shit. Like, because that was the whole point of the mission, bringing back tangible shit. Like, the hydrocarbons are this nice, pretty idea, and the whole tripping balls thing, haha, it's kind of funny and humorous, and cool, this might be a way to talk to him. But, like, the whole point of this going on this mission was to learn more about them, and the only thing you bring back is fucking pheromones. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go look for bees, but the only thing I'm bringing back is pollen. Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's a parallel that works. The function of pollen in a bee colony is not the same as the pheromones in 10C.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to milk bee pheromones from a bee, though.
I just got the most disturbing mental image statement.
I see it because I saw the Boys Season 3 trailer. You see Homelander milking a cow.
Oh, you mean Vic Magnolia?
But like, yeah, no,
Vic Homelander.
And then, Greg says that Discovery has a pacing problem this season, and I don't think it's necessarily a pacing problem. It's a tone shift problem. Because in the middle of tripping balls and a whole lot of nothing going on, we immediately switch to super secret espionage. And it's like, this is a jarring shift to, like, infiltrate Discovery and apply a thing so that we can attach ourselves to its hull and then enter the big giant hyper bubble.
The only thing missing, son, I think would have been the Mission Impossible music.
But that's the other thing. It's like the Mission Impossible thing. Granted, there is still a big counting down clock over all of this shit going on, but like, it's minutes with Mission Impossible, and they're just like crawling through the Jeffries tubes, and then have enough time to literally stop and open a window and listen to people's conversations. It's like,
So this is
what?
son. So this is the second time they tried ripping off Mission Impossible. Didn't go that great. Last season they did Die Hard with Burnham, and that worked out beautifully. So they're 1-1 right now.
Well, I mean, they did that in the first season too. She's crawling through the vents and she's reciting, what is it, Alice in Wonderland?
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's like, yeah, no, this is, that's they've done this before, but like this season, this tonal shift is really, really strong, and it's kind of jarring in places. But
I don't know that I find it jarring. I mean, I think when you have, multiple plots going on, you don't want them to feel the same. I mean, it's kind of the whole point, isn't it? I mean,
I wouldn't even be the first to know, honestly, because it's like Book and Tarka have this thing where it seems like they have everything worked out, but at the same time, it's we gotta hurry, and get this done. It's like, but you have everything worked out. Like, even when you don't have it worked out, somehow you already have it worked out. I mean, that's the feeling I get out of Tarka and Book. Because, like, even in all this, they literally spent, like, half a minute listening to the Vulcan ambassador and Noye having a conversation enough that Book's like, you know what, I'm gonna make Noye a traitor. I'm gonna bring her to my side. I mean, she voted with us to destroy the thing in the first place. Why not just ask her to take the next step?
well, I don't think that was unreasonable.
No,
given the fact that they're just hours away from destroying Earth. She's pretty desperate.
It's not an unreasonable thing. It's not an unreasonable thing. It's that, like, in all of this, we have no time to do this. They kind of have the time to do this.
So where do you get the idea that they have no time to do this? Like, what's the running clock that you see here?
The running clock.
15 hours? Sorry, Rosetta. Like,
well, I mean, yes, I mean the DMA destroying Earth, yes, but
well, like even in that instance, if Tarka, okay, cut Tarka entirely out of the argument because Tarka's not there. Tarka gives no shit at this point. He says he does, but it's a lie. He gives no fucks. Book is running on the same clock Discovery is. Because Book doesn't want another planet destroyed. That's been his motivation the entire time, as wrong as he's been. And so when he talks about not having time to do all of this stuff, he's running on the exact same clock they are, just as stressed as they are. And Tarka being like, here, we need to go plant this thing and get it attached to the Discovery. And okay, Book, you literally just spent like 5 to 10 minutes trying to convince another person to join the cause so that Tarka can blow a hole in whatever the hell, and y'all can go and destroy the actual power source for the DMA. Okay.
Well, but you know, in his estimation, he needed someone on the inside to do that.
Right, you had Ndoye, right? She's sympathetic to them, right? So why not tap that, right?
I mean, no, like I said, I understand it, but like, Book talks about being on this clock, yet we sat there and watched him listen in on a conversation between him and the Vulcan president. When he was the one going, we kind of have no time to do all this. We need to get it done and get it done now. So we're all so we're in place. That's what fell off to me, you know?
I guess I didn't feel that just because he sees Ndoye, he realizes that, you know, for the plan to work optimally, having someone on the inside is worth the gamble in terms of taking the time to do that.
No,
so
see, that would be See, I didn't think about that till just now, but that's the other problem that I think that bothers me with all of this. That's not his sole reason for doing it.
You
The
also must
other-
know about Michael.
Right. The other thing is he wants information on Michael because he still cares.
Mhm.
And it's like, is it because he wants the ally to help him, or is it because he wants the information on Michael? Because more often than not, when he's getting information, the first thing that like comes out of all of this stuff is, how's Michael doing? Or can you tap into the system so I can watch Michael having this discussion before I beam back to my own ship?
I mean, they're not diametrically opposed goals, so
It just felt weird, but it was probably the most actiony thing to happen the entire fucking episode.
well, that's true. I agree
So-
with you on that.
So I'm gonna just kind of throw this up here because this is kind of rarity. I can work here.
Well, that's not entirely accurate, but yeah, for the most part.
Well, everyone agrees it felt like a filler episode, right? We just have disagreements
Jason-
about
We each have different
except for
opinions.
Jason.
This was definitely an episode of exposition that could have been handled way better.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that I call a setup episode, and there a lot of writers believe in them. I don't. The theory behind a setup episode is it doesn't really tell an entire story like every episode should. It
Mhm.
instead says it'll pay off in the following episode or episodes. So I'm not going to follow the rules, the normal storytelling rules I would, and I'm going to sacrifice that in favor of a bigger payoff later. I think that's kind of a cop-out personally, and I don't think it usually works the way people who do that think it will. But this was a classic setup episode, and that's what makes it feel like filler. That's why the pacing feels off. That's why, the things that were wrong with it were wrong with it. It didn't tell a full story.
We're all disturbed, like not getting the payoff in tritones and music.
Or like the end of the last season when we found out the cause of the burn was a screaming boy.
Well, I don't have that same opinion as you do. I mean, that's as weirder things have happened than that, and big cataclysmic catastrophes often are the result of very small actions taken by someone. So, I don't.
Yeah, like what's going to happen in Picard season 2.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll get to that in a minute.
So, episode 10C. Carlos, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought at the when it finally went to credits at the end, I was like, finally. I just thought everything about this episode just worked. I felt like the tension was good. I felt like there were good character moments. I'm totally jazzing on the Tarina Saru thing, like I think the rest of humanity is. I loved. I mean, it was very reminiscent of what was the name of that movie that was the same thing about aliens come to Earth and they have to figure out how to talk to them. Was it
Close
Contact?
Encounters of the Third Kind? Arrival?
No.
Contact?
It was the one with Amy Adams. She plays the
Arrival.
linguist. Arrival. Thank you. It was very reminiscent of Arrival. Some might even say a copycat. I personally don't believe that because it's all contextual, but it did have the same. It did hold the same sort of intellectual curiosity for me to see them figure it out. So I just thought they made good use of all of the characters. The only thing that's really been bugging me, and I guess you can talk me out of this, but I just think, Book, how dumb can you be? How many times has Parker lied to you and you are still on board with this dude?
I would have thought Booker would have fucking killed him by now. I mean, just for
Unlike us, Book fell for his story.
I mean, we all saw through it, but Book is, I don't know. That Oh, that was Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think that Book. I mean, it's Reno made the perfect point in all of it. You know, the whole issue is about pain, and pain blinding you to like shit that's literally right in front of your face. Like at almost every turn, Tarka has been non-forthcoming with Book to the point of even blatantly lying to him at points. And the only thing in Book's head is, we've got to stop this thing. We've got to stop this thing before it does to another planet what it did to Quajon. And that's the only thing that matters to Book.
But at some point, he's got to see that Tarka does not hold the answers.
Well, that's what this episode did. It's
eventually,
really late in the fucking game, but
exactly. And that's the problem I had with it. It's like he's not dumb, but it should have been clear to him a while ago that this guy
he's supposed to sense feelings, right? You're not saying anything.
Well, it's clear that like Tarka is manipulative, and he's like got like this sort of like abusive hold over Book, right? Even like he beats or uses the shield to have Book beat the shit out of himself, right, or shoot the shit out of himself. And then he even like does this like, I've only had 2 friends in my life. What's his name? And then like you, like so even then he's like continuing like this like mental like abuse of Book. Right. So it's the same kind of thing. Like that's just Tarka and his nature. And so if you've ever been in those kinds of relationships, you can kind of understand where, how he has that sway over Book. I mean, Book's, you think he's a smart guy. You think he's, but he's already in so deep. Like he's already gone so far.
The psychological sunk cost fallacy, is that
yeah.
where
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, like
here?
Like where does he go? Like, does he go back to Michael? Because he goes back to Michael, he's going to jail, right? He's already chosen his path, and in his path, he's already thrown in
something heroic.
Well, I mean, but he's thrown in with Tarka, so he's kind of like committed down this path until like it's like till we see what happened in this episode, where it's like and I so I mean I think that's kind of why he continued to go down this road with him.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we see that Tarka had used some type of mind control on Book.
No, I mean, I think.
Justin?
What?
Let's say that again. I missed.
I said I wouldn't be surprised if Tarka used some type of mind control on Book.
I don't think so. That would be unnecessary. It's like
that'd be a little
unnecessary plot device. Remember what Book's been through. Like he's basically he has been traumatized. Like he's suffering from PTSD, and Tarka knows that, and he's taking advantage of that very common sort of psychological condition. Like if you know that someone's suffering from PTSD and you want to press the right buttons, you know how to do it, and that's all it takes. You don't need super mind control to take advantage of that.
I still, part of me still thinks that Book is the answer to communicating with the 10C, like quickly communicating with the 10C.
I hope not.
Actually, that is not a bad conjecture.
Because from the beginning, when he flies into the DMA in the beginning, like he starts seeing all those hallucinations that never show up anywhere else, even though he said like, I'm seeing hallucinations. but they only showed up while he was in the DMA.
Yeah, because
But
yeah, I mean,
even when he goes to the Vulcan president to talk about that and like do the whole mind meld thing so that she can see if there was like wormhole radiation or whatever the hell. Like,
Yeah, actually, I don't think that would be a bad twist in the plot. You seem to think so,
Would be a
Greg. But I
terrible
mean, what?
twist.
well,
How
because
come?
you had Twitch,
Because they're gonna redeem Book. It's like, no, at this point, the only way he can get redeemed is by killing Tarka.
well, no, I mean,
Well,
I
it's
no,
not
I
an
agree
either
with you.
or. He can do
He
both.
can do both.
I don't.
That would be I'm sorry, that's a cop out. If they do that, that is a 100% cop out.
Why?
why?
What?
They
I mean,
build up-
if you go that
You know,
from the presumption that he's going to do both, that he both, kills Tarka and becomes the key to being able to actually communicate with 10C. Why does that not equal redemption to you?
That straight up makes him a MacGuffin, a Mary Sue. I will retract. If they do that, Burnham is my new favorite Star Trek character. If they do that to Book, because then I will hate on Book till the end of time.
But dude, it makes total sense.
This is something they've set up with Book for seasons at this point.
Okay, but why Book and not Stamets? They both can do the mycelial network.
No,
It's not about the mycelial
they
thing.
do.
Book,
Book
Book
lost
is-
his home world.
it's
Book
not even
lost
about. It's not even about Book losing his homeworld. From the beginning, Book has had like this innate telepathic link with not just his home planet, but with like other beings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would be a cop out if it came out of nowhere. But the fact of the matter is, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's been a part of the presentation of this character from day one.
Does anyone else want to see a real funny cop out real quick? Watch this.
Actually, I need water to wash it down. I would have been trip. There it is. Fuck.
What was that? What?
Oh,
That was my
Okay.
stream where I did the Pocky one chip challenge.
Oh, I can handle it.
Oh, challenges.
Okay.
Hey, I went the hour.
Anyway,
I
back to
like the idea.
topic.
I like the idea of it being Book because it does a couple things. One, it plays on what we've learned about him through the 2 seasons he's been on the show about his empathy, right, and his like ability to connect. Two, he's got this PTSD, he's got this vendetta against the 10C, very personal, very very high personal cost, and so for him to set that personal cost aside to have basically it would be like forgiveness, right? It would be like that. I mean, forget the killing Tarka and having like the redemption story with the friends and the family. The payoff in having Book do it is the redemption for the 10C, right? And having them like and the only way you humanize like the terror and the serious cost of life that they've caused in the galaxy would be really to have Book has to be the one that does it.
I agree. I think you're totally right.
And I mean, that would actually not be a bad ending for Book. I'm like the ambassador to the 10C.
If it kills Book, I'm down. That's
I mean, and let's
and
be
Greg's
honest.
back, everybody.
Let's be honest. As much as we talk about that, like Book has to take down Tarka as a redemption period, like in the eyes of the universe. That's not the very Trek thing to do, is it?
That's true. I mean, if you look at, and I think, Jason, you said the word that encapsulates why this makes sense, connect. The idea, the theme of connection has been the theme of this entire season, like literally. It was the title of one of the episodes.
Bonding and love.
Well, yeah, it's that too, but it's the idea of connection that has been an undercurrent throughout the entire season. And so it makes sense. It makes sense.
I mean, and last time I remember when they had Cisco did a vendetta against Eddington, and fans complained about that. Like Star Trek went off. That's
You keep
not
cutting out,
how it's
Justin.
supposed to go. It was people will throw a fit about that. So I mean, really have go, basically a hero go in a vendetta against somebody. I don't know if they'll do that, but a happy ending for Book.
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
he'll get see his
let's be
family
honest.
again or something like that. And the 10C will do something to bring them back. Who knows?
Well, Book's. Let's be honest. Book's never been the hero. Book's been the
On Solo,
hot. Yeah, basically, he's been the
he's
sidekick
Star
kind
Trek
of
Han
rogue.
Solo. Yeah,
Well, and they're setting up. I think this season will be the end of Book. Not that he's going to die, but when we finally discovered in this episode where his name comes from, it's not a name; it's a title that's been handed down from one courier to another forever, and for a long time. And the fact that we learned that in this episode. It leads me to believe that it's either the end of the line of the Cleveland Bookers, but I feel like it's a setup that that his time as the Booker is coming to an end, and maybe he ends up being the ambassador to 10C, or something like that. But the idea being that if he becomes a key to communicating with them, then that's a redemption that goes much bigger. It has a very big picture kind of effect, but also allows us to leave him behind, because he can't just go back to being a quasi member of Starfleet ever again.
yeah.
Even redeeming himself the way that we're speculating that he might, he can't go back to that. No one's going to trust him in that same context. They will trust him, as an ambassador or an emissary to this new species. But I think that's the only way it works.
So, Carlos, after you were saying that, Leia goes, so basically Neelix.
Did you say Neelix?
Yes.
I love Leia. She's hilarious.
When Neelix was dropped off in the middle of nowhere and never heard from him again.
If we're talking one-to-one comparison, and if Book actually does stay behind, he's literally the new Cisco.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said emissary.
Yeah, I see what you did there, Carlos. For me, so with the episode, I did like the episode. So for now, personally, this is my favorite episode of the season so far. It was 10C. Because it was Trek. It was real Star Trek. Not that it isn't, but yeah, it was. They had a problem. They worked on a solution, and they had the philosophical dilemma. What do we do? They first thing they did out of the gate was, when the dots get absorbed, destroyed. They're like, okay, let's get out of here. And 10C's like, no, and they pull them back in. So they have to figure out the problem.
We never really find out if the dots are destroyed or not. They just get sucked into the vortex.
And by the way, did you notice, like, whenever they were inside the environment of the it was all white outside?
White, blue. Yeah, the environment they're projecting. I know what you're talking about, Justin.
You mean the inside of the orb?
Yeah,
the inside of the orb. But that was more like what the 10C is projecting, like to be like, hey, you're here. Basically, how they created the environment. Which I love the way they communicate with them. It was very a la Close Encounters, Abyss, Arrival. So there's a lot of sci-fi in here.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned the Abyss, because that whole thing, those tendrils that came out from the orb that grabbed Discovery, and the dots and pulled them in, were exactly like the tendrils that we saw in the Abyss.
Almost 1-to-1. Almost. And I saw that. I went back and looked. I was like,
yeah. So Trek has a record of having this issue. looking back on episodes, people point to specific episodes of Star Trek and go, "That's a good episode. That's a good episode. That's a good episode." But at the time that they air, those episodes are basically the equivalent of Vegemite. You either love it or you don't.
So, give us a couple examples of what you're talking about.
So, when you have the Kirk and Uhura kiss in TOS is looked back on as a major episode in the advancement of civil rights, but at the time that it aired, it was so divisive that entire stations in the South refused to carry the episode, period.
And it was hilarious because it was actually a terrible episode. Like, that's the only good part of it. But it was Plato's Stepchildren. It was not a great episode.
No.
But I see your point.
Yeah. We look at Far Beyond the Stars as a brilliant episode. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who hate that episode because it sucks them out of Deep Space Nine and puts them into 1960s America.
I guess I haven't met any of those people. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I have spoken
everybody,
to my own experience.
Everybody's a critic of certain episodes for certain reasons, especially the time travel episodes. But I mean,
I have a few friends who were like that when the episode came out, that now look back on the episode and watch it in retrospect and are like, this actually is a really good episode.
Oh, okay, well that's reassuring.
But it's again, it's this in the moment. It's this really divisive episode that is only accepted for how quote unquote cerebral it is after the fact. You know.
Do you think this one's going to qualify? It's going to be
this one absolutely qualifies because people seem to either love it or hate it, and I don't understand why people are hating it because this is a Star Trek episode.
So what are some of the things people who did not like the episode are saying about it?
Well, again, the tone shift problem. You have the fact that Zora's going, I'm feeling a bit off. Okay. I don't know what's wrong. Well, okay, cool. Let's go talk to the doctor about all that, right? The psychologist. You're in the middle of being sucked into a fucking vortex and you're just calmly talking about the ship feeling off.
Yeah, true. And Bathwater Bro, thanks for the host and the raid.
500 people. It's like only, 7 of them are actually doing something vis-a-vis the Species 10C. Like, it's conceivable that the other couple hundred people on the ship are doing other things. And in this case, this other thing, is an important plot point.
The final reveal that Jet is not on the ship.
I felt like that took too long.
Stamets is like, I've been trying to find her all day. It's like, bitch, you've been in engineering. Why did you not ask Zora where Jet was?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Zora being AI, why did Zora not pick up on, I've been paging Jet. Why didn't Zora be like, oh, she's not here?
Well, Zora...
just picking up the bioscience from the comm badge.
Yeah.
Right, but if she's was
an AI computer, she should have known better.
But even if the communicator was giving off biosigns, Jet is in engineering. Why isn't she responding to Zora?
Exactly. I felt like they took way too long to get to that. That was a mistake. And I feel like it's something. I feel it's something that the writers basically said, look, this is what we're going to do. We have to. They timed the episode, in such a way that the reveal that she wasn't there had to come at a particular time, and so they had to draw it out, and that was a mistake, I think.
I hate this.
The other thing is, and I'm not entirely sure if other people caught it. And granted, those of you who are not gamers probably didn't catch it, but the 10C look an awful lot like the Leviathans from Mass Effect. The species that creates the Reapers.
Have we actually seen them? We haven't seen them yet.
This is his scan of them. This is literally his scan of them in the episode. He scans the thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see where the red things is what you're saying.
Yeah, the things that he scanned, he's literally scanned the 10C right outside the ship. Yeah. And they look an awful lot like the Leviathans from Mass Effect. So, yeah, this episode borrowed a lot from different sci-fi and a lot of iconic sci-fi. You have...
well, that's true. I mean, even in Arrival, they're not dissimilar from what we saw
right.
Aliens and
you've got you may not have you have the lights from the 10C, but if you're listening, when Zora sends the light message back, she sends her lights in sound. The light signals that Zora sends back off have like little sounds. So that's, I mean, it's not exact like Close Encounters, but it does mimic Close Encounters with light and sound. And I honestly think that all of this mix of different sci-fi, this iconic sci-fi, really helps this episode kind of stand out on its own.
One thing I think we didn't touch on, and which I thought was one of the greatest, not greatest, but like one of the best scenes of the show, is when they're in the environment that 10C created for them, and they're just chatting. When 10C realizes that the DMA is destroying and hurting people, what do they send back? A great sadness. And it's like they understand, like, oh crap, we're hurting you, are bad. And then that's when Tarka fucks everything up.
Yep, pretty much.
With Ndoye. But yeah, that was a great scene where they're figuring out, okay, let's send this hydrocarbon, this mathematical equation, let them know we're here in peace. Hey, your DMA's hurting us, and they come back with, oh, that's our bad.
That scene was actually one of the more terrifying, honestly, and
in a way, yeah.
And it's not necessarily because of how do I say this? Like everything we've had before in this episode of the 10C, of the lights and the hydrocarbons, pheromones, and all that kind of stuff. We all get that. What makes that scene terrifying is we get sound out of the 10C. We get like this weird kind of low, grumbly kind of screech out of the 10C who's talking to them because they've been betrayed. And yeah, no, that one scene is actually kind of terrifying in that respect because you've caused this mostly silent species to shriek. Wow. Damn, Tarka, I hope you fry.
I don't. Like, I hope we... I really hope we, like, get Tarka's humanity back.
Well, it's not like he's being inhuman. He's just being obsessed, and he's rationalized things to such a huge degree. I mean, when he talks about how they'll have some time to figure it out before they're destroyed or to evacuate an entire planet or whatever, and it's like, are you listening to yourself and how ridiculous what you just said is?
Okay, here's see Carlos saying that brought me to my point I want to make. Tarka is very, very much reminding me of Soren from Generations. He has the pain, he has the guilt, he has the PTSD from what happened to him. He's not seeing past that. How Jet helped Book is where Jet's like, I have my own, story, and told her you can't see past the pain. Tarka is not seeing past the pain, so he's pulling it very much a Soren, where he knows, yes, this is going to be bad, but I'm doing right by me. I don't want. We need a good Trek villain. He's becoming a Trek villain. They gave us this sob story, this backstory that didn't sway me. I'm like, no, he's a jerk. So
But
this
see,
is just
that's the other thing. See, what he is actually worse than Soren. Because when Soren was doing that stuff with the ribbon, he always made sure he was affecting non-populated planets. That the planets that were immediately being destroyed that he was aware of were unpopulated.
fair enough.
He didn't know that there were planets on the outskirts of the ribbon's path that were being affected, which is what the Enterprise was doing during all that stuff. Tarka literally just rationalized genocide.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
There's the only way Tarka can get any shred of humanity back is if he does all of the crap that he needs to do, which is steal the DMA core and get to the other dimension. That's the only way he will ever get humanity back, period. And it's too late for that to happen in any capacity. Yeah,
I agree with you. It's too late. I mean, he just can't.
The only way he could get any shred of humanity back is to be
Succeed in genocide?
Yeah, because at that point, he will have completed the one thing that he's always been trying to do. And meet with his colleague and his lover.
So let's play that out a little bit. Like, he succeeds, and having succeeded, then the object of his obsession is achieved. And so is the idea that at that point he regains his humanity and then realizes the scope of the damage he's done? Or, like, how does that work?
No. I don't mean like he regains his humanity. It's that he stops doing all of this shit and just tries to go back to be a normal person because he's finally on the other side.
No, yeah, that's his end game. Like, if he gets what he wants, he's obviously
that's his end game,
right?
But the problem is that you can't do the things he's done and just go back to the way you were. You can't.
Look, that's true. But then again, we have no idea what that other universe is like.
Sure. Yeah. And well, we probably won't ever. My guess is he's not going to make it. He's just not going to get there.
I don't. Yeah. If Book is not the one to kill him, I think Jet will, or somebody's going to take out Tarka, and Tarka is not going to stay put because this is going to ring back to a TNG episode where they encounter the elderly couple living on the planet, and the guy is a member of a race where he wiped out this.
The Husnak, yeah.
Yes, and the reason I bring that up is because Picard says there, we have no law to fit your crime. Tarka is in that position. There is no law to fit his crime.
There's one thing that I thought of watching this episode that would fit the crime of if Tarka actually does wind up genociding the 10C.
Ooh.
And that is Harlan Ellison's original ending for the Guardian of Forever episode. And that is when the ensign who's been selling drugs in his original script just falls into the sun over and over and over again. That's the only thing I can think of as a proper punishment for Tarka at this point.
Well, so Tarka did commit a crime, though.
Huh?
Well, I mean, he's committed several crimes.
But no,
Kill
like
the
Sun's saying, if he goes through and actually does this genocide, it goes into the territory. There's no way to properly punish him. But Sun's pitching that Loki thing and falling for more than 30 minutes.
Well, it's not even that. See, in Ellison's original script, that ensign keeps basically time traveling. He starts to fall into the sun, and before he literally cooks, he's back above the sun, falling into it again.
Yeah, it's just a variation on Prometheus's liver being eaten by the eagle over and over again.
So thoughts for next week's episode. What do we think's gonna happen, Jason? What do you think? What are we looking at?
Well, they're going to stop Tarka, and they're going to stop the DMA. Earth will be saved. Discovery doesn't make it back, and they go off on a new adventure for season 5 and 6.
Okay, Sun, what do you think we're looking at?
I'm going to say they do wind up stopping the DMA, but not before there are some major primary effects to both Vulcan and Earth. Not necessarily that the planets are destroyed, but like basically the places are near unlivable.
I don't think it'll get that far, but
I
agree with your point.
I say that specifically. I say that specifically from the point of view of, I think the next season is going to be them trying to get back into the Great Barrier. And
I don't think that's a season's worth of stories.
No, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
They're trying to get back into the barrier, and they wind up falling into the whole Calypso issue. Where because of the fallout of the DMA, Earth is at war with the Federation.
Interesting.
Because that was kind of the even though it was not said, because we couldn't distinguish like all of that stuff, you had the Federation itself at war with a whole bunch of other planets in Calypso. And remember, when we first traveled to the future, that weird colony with the teleport technology calls the Federation the same thing that the bad guys were called in the Calypso episode.
Right, Betrayish.
And I honestly think that this could be a setup for that.
I think I disagree, just because we've basically only had 2 seasons of this 32nd Century Federation. They basically just got it back together, and the whole theme of it, again, has been connection. And to have it fall apart immediately, I just don't think makes sense from a storytelling perspective so quickly. I think that Calypso happens far enough forward of where we are right now that I'm not convinced that now is the time for them to lose the ship.
I think they're going to sweep Calypso under the rug. That's a silly thing.
No, they're
I
not.
think.
No, they'll get there. They'll get there. But it's not going to be right now. It'll be probably at the end of the series, frankly.
I'll go with that. I was to say, I agree with Carlson. It'll probably be an end of series type thing.
Yeah,
well,
it makes sense. For the same reason that I speculated that Book ends up staying with the 10C. It's because he can't go back to being who he was, so he has to have a new role that conveniently ends his being part of the series on a regular basis, kind of a thing. I feel like what's going to happen is I was with you, son, around Earth and Navarre being devastated to some degree. Not that sparks a war with the Federation, because I don't see where they would what would be the cause of that war. They tried to save them. They may have failed, but they did their best.
Well,
It's not like they took an
I
antagonistic point of view towards Earth. Plus, there's the whole fact that Ndoye she was the catalyst to the negotiations falling apart. I mean, it's thanks to her actions as an official of United Earth that everything fell apart, because she helped Tarka and Book. So I don't think that makes sense. But I do think, again, if they're going to really take this theme of connection and play it all the way through to the end of this season, I think what we see is that there is some level of devastation that ends with the Federation reaching out to help Earth recover, and that brings Earth back into the Federation. And for Navarre, it's the thing that will unify the different factions between former Vulcans, former Romulans on their planet, that they have to come together, connect to recover from the devastation caused by the DMA.
Well, yeah, that sounds good. But remember, I have to remember a line from Daniels on Enterprise. Yes. I'm down, Jason. That Earth and Vulcan are very different in the future, and
You're breaking up,
you know,
Justin.
You're
that
breaking
Earth
up.
and
You need to
Vulcan,
get closer to your
that
microphone.
Earth and Vulcan were very different in the future than what they're known as. So
Well,
I'm
we've
wondering
already
if
seen
the
we've
DMA
already seen that.
seen
We've
that,
already
but
seen that.
what
Yeah,
if
Daniels is what,
what
100
if
years?
this
What is it?
event brings them that much closer together? I mean, if they both were devastated by the DMA, then that's probably going to bring them together in a very
Yeah, that
significant
makes
way.
yeah.
But
They
I
have to.
also agree with Sun and on one thing. I think they might start the season off, going home. Maybe Discovery was pretty badly damaged and couldn't immediately just go back into the barrier. So they're going to make repairs on the way. Depending on what happens within last episode. So there might be a couple of episodes of them trying to get back into the barrier, only to find it fortified and then have to find another spot to go through. Maybe the teammate decided that they didn't want to take a chance of any more um, contact with anybody from that galaxy, and they sealed up the only way for people to get to them.
Well, I mean, is your theory that the 10C created the barrier? I mean, I don't
I
understand.
mean, yeah, it's possible. I mean, if they
I
can
don't.
create, quite possible, very
Okay,
quite possible.
this is the physics with Greg on the Super Geeks. There is no galactic barrier.
Well, right, but there is. I mean, as far as this show is concerned,
but
there
the
is.
way they're
Star
pitching,
Trek.
just in the way they're pitching in Star Trek, again, physics with Greg, is that it's a natural part of the galaxy. It is not artificial. So the 10C by this data did not create it.
Right.
So I don't see them fortifying it.
Well, in the book, you and other beings created it. Keep beings out of the galaxy.
What
Right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to use that as canon.
Right.
They've been using a
Right.
bunch of the books as canon, but they're not using all
Yeah,
parts
they're
of
picking and
books.
choosing.
They're
Yeah,
taking
they're
little
picking and
bits
choosing.
here and there.
To kind of close up Discovery, my thoughts for next week. Everything's gonna work out hunky dory. Have a nice day. No, Book and Tarka either both live or one of them dies, and one of them faces
And they die.
punishment. Like they're both gonna face some real problems. I honestly think if they can, if Discovery fixes what happened with Tarka, what he did, if they fix what happened with 10C, like, hey, sorry, we'll take care of him. Like they do the whole diplomacy, they get back on track. I think the 10C will just put them back in the Federation because they can put the DMA anywhere they want. Hey, we'll use the same technology. There you go. That's a possibility.
That's actually a good point. That's a good point.
Um,
I don't see the getting back through the barrier thing as enough of a story to cover even one episode.
Except for the radiation that's inside the thing that was almost ate their ship last time.
No, but they got through it relatively quickly. It went 10, 15 minutes, not even in 10, 15 minutes of the episode. Once they get through it,
Not the barrier, the DMA radiation. Remember?
That radiation was them entering the subspace rift left behind by the DMA.
Yeah, the DMA.
They basically went to an alternate dimension in subspace.
And real quick, Leia just goes, "What if it's an Ocampa type situation? Maybe." But
again, the Ocampa thing was all subspace.
Yeah.
True.
So that'll take it for Discovery. We caught up on our 2 episodes we missed the last couple weeks. So we're going to move on to my favorite of the new Trek series, Star Trek Picard. And the first episode, The Stargazer. And I see we lost Jason, so we'll go with Carlos. And your thoughts on The Stargazer? The
well,
episode,
so
not
far,
the ship.
Yeah, because the ship, I hate the ship. I'm sorry. I hated it originally when it first appeared. 4 nacelles is ridiculous.
Oh, you're such a purist.
I am. It's just,
well, you know why you hate it. Because the TOS model, if you take off the top 2 nacelles, looks like the fucking Aries.
That's not why I hate it, but you're right. I just hate it because it's unnecessary, and it just ends up looking clunky and like it's been kludged together by model makers who.
I like the STO model better, actually. I mean, that one actually looked better than this. If I had the reference photo, I'd show you, but I mean.
Well, it actually does look like an updated version of a constellation.
It's an updated. Yeah, no, it's definitely an updated version. I hated the constellation, and I hate this new version as well. I don't like it. The inside was fine.
It's still shiny though.
Well, it's the 25th
no carpet,
century, so it's a new world, Justin. Anyway, I like the premise of it. I even like the return of Q, because it's not all about Q. He's really just like this tiny little bit of plot.
Well, it's not the annoying Q. He's really
and it's not annoying Q.
Voyager Q. It's like Voyager Q.
It's the Q and the gray Q.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
So anyway, so I liked it. I was trying to get a handle on how long it's been since the end of season 1 of Picard, because it felt like it should be longer than, I think they sort of make it sound like it's been a year, but it can't have been.
From what Laris said, how she put it with Zhaban dead. It's been a year and a half since he died. So
since he died, but that doesn't, we don't have a.
He was alive at the end of season 1, so it would stand to reason.
But that doesn't mean he died immediately at the end of season 1. Without knowing exactly.
We're looking at 18 to 24.
Basically, we don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Easy.
Plus, the whole thing is that we have Elnor, who has gone through, he just graduated from. That's a 4-year program. Starfleet Academy. So that makes more sense to me that it's been 4 years. So I don't know. I'm curious what kind of time frame we're actually looking at. But even apart from that, I liked seeing how and where everyone ended up. I love what they're doing with Jurati. She's so kind of pathetic, but at the same time, just amazing in her own way. I like her as a character a lot. And from what I'm given to understand, there's something about her that the Borg Queen ends up being super, not necessarily attracted to, but connected connected to in some ways. So like there's some quirky way that Girardi's mind works that for some reason the Borg Queen is like, ooh, that's cool. You're the only one of these stupid humans that I actually like. And
You're the only one that can replace me.
I'm calling it now. My George theory is that was Girardi that beamed on to the Stargazer, not the Borg.
Oh, good God, that is a George theory. It ain't so.
Well, okay. Since when have we ever known a Borg Queen to be hooded and concealed?
Justin, talk into your mic.
Well, let's be honest. That hood wasn't just a hood. It was also whatever the hell her phaser was, too.
Yeah.
It was literally the thing firing the bolts at the crew that was stunning them.
Yeah, I read an interesting theory on the internet, so it must be true, that basically was like what her weapons are is taking energy that's thrown at her and then absorbing it and then redirecting it back at whatever the source. So the big explosions from all the starships there at the end was a sort of super power charging thing for her. I don't know if that's true, but it makes a little bit of sense.
You have to have episode 1 and 2 together to understand. Granted, I have no proof of this whatsoever, but in my head, you have to have episode 1 and episode 2 together to understand what this Borg Queen is doing.
Fair.
Yeah, and we're not even sure that the Borg Queen that we saw in episode 1 is the same one we see in episode 2.
She's not.
Right.
7 explains that in episode 2. She's not. She's just a different Borg Queen that's temporally linked to all the other Borg Queens.
Mm.
Which, by the way,
and I actually, what's that, Greg?
I was going to say, by the way, Annie Wershing, the Borg Queen, is no stranger to Star Trek. She was Liana in Enterprise.
Yes, that was her first role in Hollywood, actually.
Ever, yeah.
Killing it as the Borg Queen.
Yeah, so far she's killing it.
I get it. She's killing it.
She's killing it as the Borg Queen, and nobody's died yet.
I will say this. I love this dystopian future with the Confederation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is way better than the Mirror Universe.
Yes.
Way better.
Because the Mirror Universe, everyone is basically insane. And they're not insane in this Confederation.
They're just assholes.
They're just assholes, yeah. And the thing is, and in keeping with what Picard did last season, and they've always wanted to do because Picard or Patrick Stewart wants to make something socially relevant, is this turn towards fascism that we see on the part of humans is something that we've seen portrayed in Enterprise before, and that we're actually kind of living through right now. So it feels like that's a direction we could end up going. Frankly, it's believable. So I liked the ways in which, yes, they're evil, but it's mostly because they're assholes rather than just like mustache twirling evil people like we saw in the Mirror Universe episodes. So I like all of that. I like the way they found one another fairly quickly, and usually I'm not a fan of how that happens so quickly in stories like this, but it actually kind of made sense the way that Q placed them where they were.
All in convenient positions of power.
How about that slap?
Just enough power. Just enough power.
How about that slap from Q? Who would ever saw that coming?
That was a Batman and Robin style bitch slap.
It was.
I loved it.
I mean, finally someone slapped Picard.
Well, the thing is, when it comes to Q, Picard is actually just very irrational about it and has been forever. And like if he'd actually listen to Q instead of assuming that everything that comes out of his mouth is some sort of ridiculous thing, he might actually learn something. about the situation that they're in, and instead he's
He's
just
odd.
like, go away, go away, go away, and it just makes him sound and look petulant. So the slap was deserved. Good on you,
So,
Q.
I'm not going to lie. I cheered just a little bit, like about time.
I'm loving the Q, the way Delancey is portraying. This isn't the Q though that we know from Voyager TNG. This Q was unhinged. He is very much something is wrong with him.
He's pissed off clearly about something.
He's upset, definitely, but it's like for him to slap Picard is way out of character. When he was messing around with Cisco, it was playful fisticuffs to screw with it. This slap was very, like you said, Batman and Robin. Shut up and listen.
Yeah, he's desperate about something for
Exactly.
sure. There's
So,
desperation behind what it's
So the interesting thing is this, in my head, this actually ties into the first episode and the Borg Queen from episode 1. See, when we get the conversation, when we finally get the conversation between Q and Picard in episode 2, he blatantly mentions, "Oh, I felt like seeing an old friend. So what did I do? I went for looking for the nearest explosion." I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that explosion is directly responsible for Q's intervening.
I want to point this out. Q said a line that the second I saw the Borg and saw Q made me think of Voyager. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Don't provoke
the Borg.
Yep.
Now, I agree with you on the Confederation. It reminds me of season 1 in portraying the journalist doing her job, and how, depending on what political side you may lean towards, how she was acting may seem to you like, quote unquote, the other side of the other side's political journalism. And I kind of get those vibes here too with the Confederation. They're obviously trying to play it one way, but it fits so well in the other way as well. But that aside, God, we have a really dark Picard.
And
Yeah.
Did anyone else with Picard giving his proper with Patrick, with the prime good Picard, watching himself give his speech when he was giving the propaganda? I'm like, Starship Troopers, would you like to know more? That's
Yeah.
A lot of people felt that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't. It didn't feel that way to me.
Okay.
I guess this is the whole point of rolling back into the fascism thing. It honestly felt like a genuinely dark version of the Uncle Sam propaganda.
Yes, definitely. He says in so many words, "We want you." It's like that's a yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely played on that iconography.
And a twisted version of the Captain's Oath, Strange New Worlds, conquering civilizations. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch. Just different enough,
Dude, Slade Goldakai.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
was gonna wait till
that
wait till
scene.
the end for that one, but yes, that.
Well, at least that was a better way to get his body.
Dude, Slade Goldakai
Martok,
killed Martok.
Eric,
Sarek of Vulcan.
The Grand Nagus.
Wait. Not only did he slay Sarek of Vulcan, he executed him in front of Spock and Amanda.
Yep.
Jesus.
At the Science Academy.
Well, no, wait. We don't even know if it is Spock and Amanda.
It would have no. Okay,
It's
it would be Spock only because of the way the time is where Picard is.
Yeah.
Cybok is not there, so Spock would.
Okay, Cybok does not exist, you guys.
No. Wait a minute. No.
Uh-oh.
This future has been changed since 2024 is when they have to go back.
Yeah.
This is a future that's been changed. It's entirely possible that
Carlos
Sarek
breathed.
doesn't even have Amanda or Spock.
Yeah,
Carlos
that's true.
breathed.
yeah, but they actually said Spock.
Did they? I thought they just said son.
They named
Wife
dropped
and
Spock a little
son.
later.
They named Spock.
No, Picard names Spock when he's talking about Kirk doing the fucking sun maneuver.
Slingshot. that
Yes.
doesn't work.
No, I'm pretty sure it was.
But so Picard is brutal in this timeline. Like he took on some of the greatest warriors we know. Dukat was a capable tactical commander.
Mhm.
Martok was a chancellor of the Klingon Empire. I don't know why you kill the Grand Nagus, but you killed the Grand Nagus.
He was in the way.
He was in the way. Okay.
Well, everybody's
Sarek,
wanted to kill Wallace Shawn once or twice.
the poor man's Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, that's
I
not
wouldn't-
fair.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Yeah.
God
Here, I have an
dang.
interesting theory. The Borg head we see in his trophy room, I am willing to bet it's got the right armament. That's Hugh. I'm willing to bet that is Hugh's skull.
That's an interesting
Because he's
theory.
got those 6 heads. One of them's a Borg, and then it looks like a Riemann head behind Martok, back left, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if like they name drop like, oh, one of those Conquer skulls, the Borg is Hugh. I'm like, oh, well then.
And now I have to wonder if they discovered data or discovered lore to have the sense that they have.
I want to say both. It might be both.
Well,
they come
we
off
actually, yeah. I mean, we know we're going to meet one of the Sungs already.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
but my guess is probably there was still a Noonien Sung. There was probably still a Data. There was probably
Right.
still a lore, because they do have synths. But I don't think it's a avenue they're going to go down in this.
No, yeah,
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
story.
Especially now that they're all under arrest.
Right.
For now.
And sure Travis is super pissed because of Eleanor.
Eleanor gets shot.
Hope he
The
chooses to
reunion
live.
we wanted was Picard and Guinan. She's still tending bar. She's still listening.
At 10-4, no less.
I thought that was total fan service. I was not a fan of that
Of course
scene.
it was.
Oh,
That
yes, of course it was. That's the whole point.
No, it's not. I would have liked to have seen. I don't mind the fact that he went to see her.
there
I
was
just
no
mind
payoff for that.
exactly. There was
The
no
whole
payoff.
point. The whole point of that conversation was, dude, go fuck Laris.
Exactly.
Okay,
There was
exactly.
no payoff for that whatsoever. And by the time we get by the time we get through with this season, guess who's going to be back? Japan.
So
Wait a minute.
Mom's
What
dead.
if Guinan's the watcher?
Guinan, actually, that's who I think is the watcher because she's
wouldn't surprise me.
is probably there.
No.
And that's what she does. She watches. She listens.
And listens.
She listens.
So I'm curious if they're going to end up de-aging Whoopi Goldberg. Like they came up with clever,
It was clever with Delancey because he was standing still
yeah.
when
And
they did
the
it.
reason it worked better with Q because Q has always changed his appearance. It's like, oh, let me catch up to you, and then bam, we know that is Q. He will do that. He did it in All Good Things.
Well, see, that's another point though. When Picard talks about something not being right with Q, he's correct. Because when Q changes his appearance, there's the shing with the snap. But when he keeps doing it, there's no shing. It's like this weird kind of sound.
Yeah. I think that was just the way they did the production because we get the flash, and then every other time he snaps his fingers, it's a cut scene. It's like just cuts. Next scene's like, give us the flash. Fill our hearts with.
But
happiness.
maybe you know what? I did not pay attention to that. But now that you mention it, son, I think that is significant because they've been very consistent over the
Mhm.
years and all the different series in which he's appeared about that flash. And I think the fact we don't see that here in some of those finger snaps is a clue.
He has
Well,
been.
the
He has
fact
been
that
though where he didn't. Sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
the fact that he got that's when he smacked. Was it when he smacked the card? Whenever he got to, "Are you not well?" Before or after?
I think it
I
was
think.
after.
I think it was after.
I mean,
We have seen instances where Q didn't use the snap though. Cleaning Picard's uniform, putting him in a shuttle. When he's in the shuttle, they go back to 10 forward. There's no snap. There's no flash. So we have seen instances of that before where he didn't snap and no flash.
all right.
I do. Okay, so this is basically my theory for for what's going on right now. Originally, having only seen the first episode, I thought the Borg Queen was the one that sent him back in time. It makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Having seen episode 2 and Q admitting that he's responsible,
Surprise.
and not only that, Q didn't just send them into an alternate timeline. He sent them to the beginning of that day in the timeline. That the day of the harvest, where he talks to Laris, is the day Picard is sent back to, which still gives him the full day up until the point that the Stargazer is destroyed in the original timeline. What's going on with the Borg Queen is she's already in contact with the completion of the other timeline. The entire season has already wrapped up for this Borg Queen.
Wait, which one? The one on the Stargazer, or
the one that's behind me right now?
Okay,
Stargazer.
The Stargazer Borg Queen. All of that stuff has already wrapped up for this queen. She is genuinely offering the Federation peace. The reason she needs power is so that she can help the other Borg Queen calculate for the slingshot maneuver.
And that there's evidence to kind of back that up. She's not killing anybody. She is stunning everybody.
Yeah.
So
She's doing it because, like you said, I go to where the explosions are, and that's where I expect to find you. I mean, she needed an explosion, so she blew them up real good.
Picard gave her.
No. She didn't blow up the ships. She didn't blow up the ships. She was networking the ship's Borg components for power.
Yeah,
Picard blew up the Stargazer and it cascaded to the other ships.
Okay.
That we know of. Well, technically we don't see the ship blow up because as soon as he says, 2-1, he turns to the Queen and then flash.
He turns to the Queen and she says what Yvette says. Look up.
Right.
Which, given that a lot of people question this, and it's like, it makes perfect sense. Dude was literally Locutus. All of his memories are in her head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she knows. Yeah. This is one of the reasons I'm liking Picard, is because
it's a lot deeper.
It's a mind fuck, but it's a fun mind fuck and a fine fuck, and it's not this lovey-dovey get to know you thing. And everybody already knows each other. You're not.
Well, that's why I'm able to look to overlook the all of the wanky stuff that they're throwing, is because it is all in service to
ship
a bigger or a foreign cell ship, which is ridiculous. But because it's service of this very big plot that's also a very deep plot, and so I'm okay with those things because they all kind of make sense, and they'll make more sense as we go along. Like I said, I think
keep in mind this is a 2-season arc.
Do we know that for sure?
Yes,
it is. It is confirmed.
Season 2 and season 3 were filmed back to back.
That doesn't mean that they're part of the same arc.
No,
you guys.
They did, Carlos. Picard. Oh my God, Patrick Stewart confirmed with the writers that it is a 2-season arc and ending at season 3, the end of season 3.
Well, but that doesn't mean it's the same setting. You can call it an arc.
It is the same
thematically, but I don't know that. I think there's a lot of wiggle room in there. I've been seeing, if you can find the article for me, I'd love to read it. because I have a hard time seeing them extending their visit to 2024 over the course of two
Well,
entire seasons.
I know they're not going to keep it over 2 times. I mean, they're going to. If Picard calls it massive temporal explosion, there isn't going to be all good things fixed. I
You need
mean,
to keep talking right into your microphone,
Yeah.
Justin, because you cut in and out.
is it doing it still? I got a high gain. Oh wait. Anyways, where was I? I can maybe lose track.
We were talking about a season 2-3 arc.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not going to stay just in 2024. That's only one part of the story. I mean, they're fixing a massive temporal explosion. So that was caused by Picard self-destructing the Stargazer.
Well, we don't necessarily know that it was a temporal explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we don't know that.
well,
We don't know that.
No. I mean,
All we know is that Q literally yanked them out of time into it. And here's the other thing. Like this. How do I put this? This isn't like you've fallen into another dimension or what the hell ever. Picard has literally been yanked into a separate time. This is literally tapestry through a mirror darkly at this point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of.
And all good things.
No, but I like Sons better, Justin.
It's all three.
Well, I think to the original point, which is around, what does it mean for season 2 and season 3 to be part of the same arc? I just don't. I don't think that is. I think that is thematic. That is not a plot. I don't think the plot of season 3 is like a to be continued at the end of season 2. I think season 2 will tell an entire story, and
which will lead into season 3.
That rolls into season 3.
Yeah.
So at the end of 3 seasons of Picard, and which ostensibly is the end of the series, Picard will have taken a big journey that began, beginning of season 1 and ends at the end of season 3, and in that way they are all related to each other. But I don't buy the idea that this is a one story split up over 2 seasons, because that's. I just don't think that makes sense.
This is jumping the gun, but the only way Picard ends right, the only way the series ends right is Picard dies. He gets a finality type death the way Data does. He has to die at the end of season 3 for it to.
Or he ascends and becomes Q.
No, that's gonna. I agree with Greg. I think he comes to a final, either heroic / peaceful ending that resolves. Like, they're setting up this whole thing about Jean-Luc Picard's past, in which we, are starting to see that there's a very dark and traumatized part of his childhood.
That was something else.
Yeah, and
his dad was hard on him.
That his dad was more than hard on him. He was abusive. Which mirrors
his brother.
Well, it mirrors Patrick Stewart's own lived experience, and it's a message he wants to send. He's been a huge advocate around domestic abuse, and so I think that's his personal connection to this story, and it's the reason we're going to see that play out, I think, in this season of Picard, and maybe through season 3, is him coming to terms with how his being traumatized has in some ways interfered with his life. Clearly they're setting up that it's interfering him seeking happiness with Laris, even though he clearly feels an attraction to her, and she obviously does for him as well. And the fact that there's something that gets in the way, and we don't know exactly what that is, my guess is it has something to do with his traumatized childhood abuse.
I agree with you that the plot of this season is not going to roll into season 3, but I have to agree with Greg somewhat that the setup is here for season. Even in these first 2 episodes, the setup for season 3 is here already, and I'll explain why. Mm-hmm. You talk about Picard being a giant advocate for domestic violence awareness. Patrick Stewart isn't just that advocate for awareness. It took him just as long to come to that, but also realize that his abusive father was also a victim, because his father was that way because of being in the war, or in one of the wars. And I honestly think we have the setup here for Q being his father, or an analog for his father, for Stewart's father.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Because Q is acting, as much as Q is an omnipotent being, he's always kind of portrayed himself as this father figure to humanity. And now you have that father figure being blatantly abusive to Picard. Dude literally just slapped him. Like, and as much as all of that stuff is going on, I honestly think that's going to be the setup for season 3, that Picard has to fix all of the timeline crap that's gone wrong now, so that he can fix Q in season 3.
Yep.
Or at least settle the hell that is going on with Q in season 3.
Right.
Oh,
right. So
maybe
Delancey and Goldberg are both on for season 3 also. So.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, they're both on for season 3.
Okay. Well, that I think that lends some real evidence to your theory, son.
I definitely look forward to this season.
Oh, me too. I mean, as cheesy as the setup kind of sounds, it's pretty deep. Like, this is intense. This is intense. There's dark sides to every one of these characters in Picard, except Elnor, who's just adorable.
The interesting thing is,
shut up, Justin.
The interesting thing is that Brent Spiner's character is almost lauded more than Zefram Cochrane, because when they're in the Confederation's version of Starfleet Academy, that hologram is of Spiner saying that the line for a safe galaxy is a human galaxy, or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely lauded. He's a linchpin character, obviously. I love that they come up with new ways to give Brent Spiner, a job without him having to play Data in the makeup and contact lenses forever and a day. I think, though, I don't think he's the Watcher. I don't think it makes sense given what we know, the role that he plays in having the Confederation come into being. I think thematically it makes sense for it to be Whoopi Goldberg. I'm just wondering how they're going to handle the aging part of it.
It would make sense, but Guinan's not on Earth at this time.
Do we know that? We don't know that.
We don't know that.
Technically, okay.
Because she was on Earth before then.
She was on Earth before then, right? And
she's at this point, I feel like she's off across the galaxy, so that all that setup can be put into place for her to be rescued by Kirk and the Enterprise B. Remember?
Okay, when the Enterprise B happened, is still after this. That's
sure. The late 23rd century.
Yeah,
but okay, if I may, son, sorry, I think she's still on Earth because in the Time's Arrow in TNG, she immediately tells Data, "Oh, tell my father I'm not done here. I have to watch the humans a bit more."
Yeah,
I kind of am on the thing that she is on Earth until she's aboard the Lakul in Generations. Like, she's coming because the Lakul is heading for Earth. They're carrying, it says, Alorian refugees, so she's coming back from home. It sounds like.
Well,
I part of me thinks it's going to be Whoopi Goldberg, but part of me goes, I don't necessarily think it's going to be Whoopi Goldberg, because why do you have the like blatantly blind characters leading Picard around.
What do you mean?
Okay, so like in the trailers, there were a couple of shots that look like they take place in, the 2024, but like they look like, I mean, they almost look like Vulcans, but they have like milky white eyes, period. They are blatantly blind looking characters. And that was one of the big questions, is like, who are these people? Who are these people that are leading Picard and crew around? And I'm not necessarily sure that Guinan would have a posse of characters like this. I mean, they almost look like something that Men in Black, the organization, designed for an alien species to walk around on Earth, honestly.
Wait a minute. Did we see Soji? We haven't seen Soji yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
we
was
did.
on that first episode.
She was
We
on the
haven't
Delta
riding-
planet.
Yeah, we have
riding
not.
with the Delta planet.
Right, but we
Leading
haven't
up to
seen her
Stargazer.
in the Confederation, have we?
Of course, no, and I don't expect we would, considering that she was created to basically bring Picard into the whole thing, into the season 1 mystery.
Right, but I don't believe.
We might wind up.
Was she named in the credits? She
In-
isn't she?
I don't know. I
Credits.
didn't
First
see
episode
Issa.
she was.
I didn't see her name in the second episode.
Because I got the sense that she's in the whole season.
I didn't get that sense, because like it feels very much like they intentionally left her to, or intentionally wrote her to be left behind in the prime timeline.
But I don't know.
Because even if we do come across her in this timeline, I'm going to assume that because she wasn't in the giant cascade of Borg Queen stuff going on with the Stargazer, if we do meet her in this other timeline, she's going to have no recollection of the other timeline.
That's true, because when Girardi's on the Stargazer, it's just Girardi. Soji's not with her.
Unless
Well, you got to remember, like Elnor and what's her face
Robin.
were not even on the Stargazer. They were on the Excelsior.
They were in the vicinity. They're right there.
Right. They were hooked up to another ship through the Borg Queen.
And by the way,
I-
hot George theory.
She's done interviews where she says she is, like, her character develops and grows in season 2. So we're going to see her.
Mary Wiseman said the same thing about Tilly, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see Tilly in the season finale, but Tilly's been gone for a few episodes, so...
Yeah, just a few episodes. Like, I'm not saying she's going to be in every single episode,
Yeah,
but she's clearly, this is not just a little cameo they threw into into episode 1. There's,
Yeah, you can't use us like that. Don't do that.
she's clearly going to have something to do with what happens.
Okay, so I'm disappointed in everybody, because General fucking Sisko.
I thought that was great.
What?
Benjamin Sisko is alive.
Well, of course he's alive. They didn't just enter a diplomatic pact with the wormhole aliens. They literally conquered Bajor.
So,
There are
okay,
Bajor phaser rifles and regular rifles
Yes.
on Picard's wall.
son, calm down. I know. I'm saying, so Picard is going to hurt us, because they name dropped General Sisko. Benjamin is here. We are either going to get an Avery Brooks cameo.
We are that was just a throwaway fan
if,
service
if
thing.
we do not get an Avery Brooks cameo,
We're not
cameo,
gonna
I
get it,
swear I'm
Avery
going to
Brooks.
riot.
It will not happen. It will not happen. That
If
literally
not,
is-
it will be.
the episode is rife with those kinds of little throwaway things, and this is just another one of them.
No, I will tell you exactly what's going to happen. This season, we're going to get LeVar Burton playing whatever the hell this Confederation's Geordie is, but he's going to be wearing the same outrageous clothes that Avery Brooks wears nowadays.
I don't think we are not in the Confederation for more than 15 minutes in the next episode, and then we'll never see it again.
I think
This is it,
the
you
rest of this in
guys.
2024. I think
They're basically they've shown us enough to show how terrible humans are, and that the stakes are high, and that's it. They're going to go back in time, and they need to get. If it needs to happen very early. I think they're
going to spend one more episode in the Confederation, and I say that
part of it. But
I say that specifically because of episode 1 taking place over the course of a day.
So I think what will happen is, because remember they've shown us that
technically in the morning.
They've shown this this same scene, different perspectives, but the same scene 2 times already. At the very beginning of episode 1, and then again in later in the episode when we catch up to that, to that event. And my guess is, yes, you're right. This is all timed, just like it was, when they did the slingshot in Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Like when they came back like right out, and same in First Contact. They came back right after they left. So we're going to see that. All of that play out again differently, of course, now because of what happens in 2024. But I think you're right that we're going to end up closing that loop at the end of the season. But I don't think they need to spend more time in the Confederation version of this timeline to do that. We already know they've set up the stakes already, and they need to get to the point, which is. Get the fuck back to 2024 and let's get this story going.
Mm-hmm.
Seven kills her Confederate husband. I'm calling it.
She what?
Seven's gonna shoot her Confederate husband. I'm calling it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's entirely possible.
Honestly, I think the Borg Queen is going to intervene, considering she's now hooked up to the La Serena.
Yeah, I love
she's going to be. Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
I love the look Girardi has. She's just like terrified. But Borg Queen's like, I like you.
So who hated Patton Oswalt in this episode, the second episode?
Okay, if someone hated Patton Oswalt Carlos, Spot 73, Girardi's little pet in the Confederate, is Patton Oswalt.
I did not know that. I was going to say, where the hell was Patton Oswalt?
I knew it was him.
I loved Spot 73, and I hope we see Spot 73 again.
I couldn't stand him.
It was a stupid avatar. They should have had ads.
You bite your tongue, sir. Do not.
That's why it was so great, you guys.
Yes. It should have been Badgie.
No. I look at that. I look at the whole Spot 73 thing, and I look at it like the whole NFT bullshit that's going on right now.
Even Justin Lance says you're fired.
Meow. I love Spot 73.
So I want to go over a few things I love from the first 2 episodes. So, number 1 is back. Right there. Number 1 is back is great. Well, it's only 5 seconds, but number 1 is back. I'm a little disappointed Picard doesn't have a Confederate number 1. given the way Patrick Stewart is. I'm sorry. The best, from my standpoint in physics, the best thing about the first episode of Picard is the Stargazer being the Sagan class was an absolute joy in my heart.
That was nice.
Nice. Carlos can't hate the Stargazer.
I
hate the ship. I don't mind the name of the class.
I love that Rios is captain of the Stargazer, and when he's like, everybody ready, giving the orders, he's all, make it so. I'm like, he delivered it beautifully. Yeah, Rios did a great job with that one.
Oh, right. The thing that I complained about was the thing that never happened. So Rios is captaining the.
No. Let Greg finish. We are going on 3 hours. We've got
Okay.
Okay, I'll just make a quick bet. Picard and Guinan I loved. It was just it was the fan service interaction we wanted. A lot of us wanted. Was it needed? Debatable, but we got it. Ship pouring up the ass at the end of the episode. All the Star Trek Online fans were giddy seeing all these classes of starship in live action canon.
Not to mention it was not the copy and paste from last season.
Well, it's not just that it's fan wank. What was the biggest complaint at the end of season 1?
Yes.
Copy and paste.
The entire fleet was copy paste.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get why they did what they did. I think it's still funny.
So we get Seven doing the Seven not Borg. She's not Borg in this Confederate. Doing the smartest thing out of anybody, running through her senses, pain, smell, sight, touch, running through her senses. Like, okay, I got this. It's real.
To make sure she's not dreaming. Yeah,
exactly. We get Q unhinged, which is what I love. And then Girardi stealing the show in episode 2, going from dealing with the Borg Queen to then, oh yeah, this is my college drinking buddy. This is Annika 7-Shot Hansen. We were all college buddies.
That was brilliant. Alison Pill's performance was utter brilliance because it was totally true to the character of Girardi, and anyone, like, it was totally believable. Like, coming out of any other character, it would sound totally fake, but that's the way Girardi is.
Yes. She sold that story so well, and on the fly, Alison Pill delivered that scene beautifully, and I love that Annika 7, Jerry Ryan was like, okay, I'm going with this.
Yeah.
That was absolutely great. I love that. It's just, oh man. And Leia goes, I really wanted to hate Girardi, but that scene kind of helped her.
And Girardi's a lot more likable this season.
She is. She did have a bad first start with the being on with the Deltons and Soji, that whole exposition dump. But this second episode, gold. She handled herself beautifully.
Yeah. By the way, I looked it up. Soji does appear in Picard trailers,
yes.
And she appears to be in 2024. So we're going to see her again.
Okay.
So
I don't know how she gets there.
So Soong's already taken her around. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't leap to that conclusion exactly. She may not even be playing an android. You know, she may be playing like a human version that, you know, we find out later is what Soong ended up. Was the model for it. So my guess is it's probably going to be that. I don't think she's going to be an android.
Oh, good God. Is Soong going to kill an alien because the alien killed Soji?
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ.
Well, okay. So funny thing about the 2024 they're going to, this is the same time as the Bell riots. I don't know if we're going to see that in this timeline that they're going to, but the Bell riots are happening at this time in 2024.
Yes, but they're happening in San Francisco.
Which we'll probably like we got the General Cisco name drop. We might get the Bell riots name drop.
Well, we might get something, but they're purposefully setting this in Los Angeles.
No, so, you're right. They are.
So, you know, there may be some reference to it, but I don't think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see it play a huge role in what they're
Well,
doing.
it's definitely going to be in the news.
Yeah, if they pass like a TV with news on there, we're going to see something like tensions in San Francisco, something like that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for this to be kind of an inflection point in terms of human history. So yeah, they're not going back to a peachy keen 2024. They're going back to a time where something is up, and
every major city has a sanctuary.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we'll see that.
So the thing I talked about the last time we were on was Rios and that cigar.
I was amazed at the reaction people have had to that.
Oh my God!
That he never lit it.
Yeah,
yet
right.
he did smoke it on his. He did smoke on his own ship.
Well, he's not smoking on the Stargazer.
But he never lights it on the Stargazer.
Nope.
Even though he pulls out the lighter and starts playing with it all the time.
And in fact, everyone now wants to buy that lighter, which you can. It's on
It's
Amazon.
on Amazon. It's probably
It's
the
like
price
all
is
the
probably
people who
gone up.
wanted to go out and buy the Raktajino cups when DS9 was still on air.
You know how much those damn cups go for on eBay now?
Yeah, because they're not manufactured anymore.
It's about like trying to find a Berkshire.
Yeah, like a bird chair.
Those things are very uncomfortable, by the way. Alrighty, so I think that's pretty much covered it for our reviews for Discovery and Picard.
I think you're right.
Is there anything else that you want to grab from the Trello, Greg, or you want to move on to what we were watching?
I say let's go ahead and move on to what we're watching.
Yeah, because we're running close on time.
Yeah, so we'll call it here.
Yeah, we're
So-
going to do the 3-hour tour here, and this ain't the minnow.
So, Carlos, with your triumphant return, what have you been watching?
Oh gosh. Come back to me because I have to sort of piece together my memory.
You know what Carlos has been watching. I mean, come on, it's Carlos already.
What have I been watching? Thank you. It's been too long since I've heard that. No, I mean I've been really playing catch up just because I've been so busy at work. So you know, This Is Us, Big Sky, Discovery, Picard. I've been loving on HBO Max, The Gilded Age,
Okay.
or as I like to think of it, The American Downton Abbey. It has Christine Baranski in it, and I love anything she does. So I've been enjoying that, and of course Euphoria. I've been really enjoying it. Just finished its second season. So that's me.
Justin?
Yeah. So last couple of weeks or so, I watched Free Guy, Ready Player One, and started on watching the Adam Project just released.
Oh, that I actually was going to bring that up. I haven't watched it yet, but I totally want to.
I'm going to watch it this weekend.
So far, and I'm only about halfway through. I think you will like it. It's actually really, really good for a Netflix can't be time travel flick.
The new Pixar movie, Turning Red. Watched it last night.
Oh,
fantastic.
Yeah, that's on my list. I caught up quickly on Superman and Lois for this season.
Yep.
And
Yep. Me too.
Flash, thumbs down, thumbs down. Another
gave up
fucking
on
time.
Flash.
It's another time travel arc again.
Well, of course it is. It's the Flash.
I mean, it's every fucking season now. Now
That
they have
show
to go
is
back.
killing me. It's killing
I
me.
watched the first 5 minutes, and the kids have to go back and say things now. I'm like, what? No. The Legends was good. I caught up in their season. They've actually gotten better, surprisingly. Batwoman got pretty good for the season finale. That's no one to catch up on. What else has that been? Space Force season 2.
Damn, Justin, how did you watch
been
so
going.
much when you were moving?
I had the stuff on in the background while I was doing stuff while I wasn't flopped in front of the computer. That's how I watched stuff while I was moving. The last 2 weeks too. So while I was packing, I had something on, so I actually got to watch more than I normally do, which is weird. But whatever, we'll work with it. But yeah, I'm gonna try to finish Free Guy probably tonight. Free Guy, Adam Project tonight. Sorry, I got my Ryan Reynolds crossed, and hopefully, I don't know what else is up on the list. Yeah, that's pretty much been it, other than the move and everything else. Yeah.
All right.
And son?
So, as typical, I'm still watching the Aftermath series with Leia Remini and the Church of Scientology, and that is, God, even when you're not doing all the heavy stuff, it is something that you kind of have to chew through like a really tough steak, because like they've done a few episodes now covering like the belief system and then like the cost of the church and all this kind of stuff, and God, that shit is just so twisted. It's unbelievable. in more lighthearted stuff, I say more lighthearted stuff. Most of the stuff I've watched this week has happened in the last couple of days.
Okay, son, I was gonna say you lighthearted. Come on.
I've been watching the endless takes on the Jesse Smollett verdict.
Oh my god. 158. Are you kidding me?
No, it's not even. It's not even that. See, that seems actually rather appropriate considering he spent way more money defending himself than he actually has to pay to the government. But it's
plus 55 days in jail.
My favorite thing out of all of this has been that I didn't Epstein myself.
Or the family complaining of unfair treatment by the justice system.
He literally gets up in court and goes on a tirade of "I did not kill myself," like he knows he's gonna be murdered.
Oh my god, this guy.
Inappropriate.
Oh wow.
I'm going to hell for that one, and I don't care.
Is that about wrapping up for you, son?
Yeah, I mean, outside of a couple of musicians releasing new content, Cole McGuinness released a version of "I'm Still Here" from Treasure Planet, but because it's called McGuinness, it's kind of done in an Irish folk kind of way.
The way he does it.
Absolutely fantastic. I definitely recommend that for something actually lighthearted.
I might wait till I get my sound system up to get the neighbors a proper hello for that one.
So, thanks. And so far as me, what I've been watching, watched quite a few things I got a chance to watch. Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot was very fun. Pacific Rim: The Black, I did a rewatch of that. That was very entertaining. I do like that show. Do my Dragon Ball Z rewatch. My son loves Dragon Ball Z, so he and I watch it together.
You're gonna hate that now. You're gonna hate it when he decides to do a Goku blast right into your groin.
Yep. The sequel series, How I Met Your Father to How I Met Your Mother, is turning out to be a pleasant surprise.
Really? Because I was not optimistic about that.
Its last episode airs. It's a 10-episode first season, airs this Tuesday, and then they have renewed for a second season. So I would say give it the first season, see what you think. And also I got to see The King's Man of The King's Man.
Oh, I did too.
The King's Man, I loved it. It was a really good. Leigh and I both enjoyed the movie. You can't go wrong with Ralph Fiennes. I'm sorry, the man's gold. He carried the movie very well. I love the story. And I can't wait for actually the official trilogy to be done. Tara Edgerton has signed on to do a third Kingsman movie, which is due out in a couple of years. Matthew Vaughn is supposedly returning to direct, so I'm looking forward to that. But that does it for me for what we're watching.
Oh, one other quick thing that I watched, which was fascinating, was on Showtime. The series they're doing on Cosby. We need to talk about Cosby. Is I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but it's chilling, actually, going back to like the 1960s, where you can tell he was giving these little clues about what he was doing to women that far back. Like he was playing a very long game, and it's kind of chilling to look back at what he was doing, in the 60s and 70s, and realizing, these are their red flags everywhere.
You don't notice the red flags until they're caught, and then you go back and look, and they were there the whole time.
Hollywood doesn't make monsters; it just gives monsters power.
Yeah,
true. But that'll about wrap it up. Carlos, before we go, where can people find you?
Well, let's see. Probably the best place is the Axe Monitor Facebook group.
He never posts in there anymore. Don't let him lie.
I do read, though. I do read. And
he never does a newsletter. There's one that's been 30 days out for 30 days.
Justin, if I could mute you, you'd be muted. Where can people find you, Justin?
Twitch TV, separate though. I don't really stream much right now since I'm moving, but I'll pick that up eventually here soon, hopefully.
And then people can find me if you're watching our stream right now. You're in the right place. As stealing that line from
Oh
Ross,
God.
twitch.tv/mongoosgaming88. And I believe Sun will close this out with where you can find her
Oh,
and her new
one
place.
quick note before we get to Sun. Please, for the love of God, if you get banned from somebody's Twitch channel, don't come to another host and beg for an unban. I'm just gonna ban you too, because the shit that happened tonight was not.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I had an unruly Twitch user in my chat. I banned him. He started spamming Justin's thing, and Justin had to ban him. It's like, yeah, just don't make us do that.
Yeah.
And so,
Please.
on that note,
I don't
that
like
lighthearted note, to steal that from Sun, where can people find you and your closing?
You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Sunseal. I actually streamed this week. That's how good
my
I've
God.
been the past couple I streamed this week both days. So you can find me on Sundays and Tuesdays at about 3 p.m. Central Time. So 4 p.m. Eastern. I usually sign off in a very specific way, but because of the past couple of episodes of Picard, I actually have something that I kind of feel is important to say.
Go ahead.
Picard has once again shown a keen awareness of both sides of extremism. Depending on where you sit politically, you can see the Confederation as one side or the other, or both. The obvious celebrity voices will claim their biased stances from both sides, and both are correct. That this is the ultimate conclusion of the other side's extremism, safety or purity. Let no single side say this in no way would ever represent the extremism of their side. We've already seen it in our history and in the present right now. What matters is doing what we've always done, resisting. Resisting the urge to be governed by fear or by those that use fear to control us. Charlie Chaplin once wrote and said, "Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We've developed speed, but we've shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. Choose to be kind to everyone." Good night, everyone.
And that is a wrap. And we'll play out the intro. All right. Oh, there you go.
So have you noticed the thing yet, Carlos?
The thing.